to another episode of Spare Time. I'm Carlos. Today, my guest is my buddy Brett Parrott. How's it going, Brett?
Good, buddy.
Right on. And then, as usual, my buddy Mike's here.
Hello, hello.
I love it, dude. It's awesome. And once again, this episode is brought to you by Umpqua Survival, best place in town to shop. And I think I'm getting better at remembering the commercial. So, right on. So, Brett, not everybody knows you. I know you got quite a few followers out there or whatever, but tell us a little bit about yourself for all the people that don't know who you are.
I'm born and raised Douglas County. Whoop, whoop. Grew up here, lived here for 55 years now, going on 55.
God, you're old.
Right, I am. Own my own business in Green, PC Auto Detailing and Performance. And work for Looking Glass Brewery, do all their marketing and promotions for them, do their event coordination and taste their beer.
It's a rough job.
Yeah, it's a horrible
That's
job.
terrible. Terrible.
Yeah. He makes the worst beer. No, it's the best.
It's the best.
I
love it. Yeah.
The shit.
Right on. And what about you, Mike? What do you got going on?
Work. Lots of work.
You're killing me, dude.
I know.
Killing me.
That's what I do.
Right on. Nothing cool happening out there?
No, not this week.
No, you haven't convinced them to give you a freaking company boat to cruise around?
No. They gave me a keychain.
I feel like I feel like we could do some fishing and promote the business.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I know a guy. We could put like a logo on the side of the boat.
Well, we'd be
shit.
sponsoring your logo.
Oh. Well, we could sponsor everybody's logo.
Yeah, we'll all share it.
That's an idea.
It would be.
Let's do it.
I think so. It'd be all right. So, born and raised here, Brett?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your life growing up here and being around here.
Oh, man. So I went to every high school in Douglas County.
Oh, shit.
My parents separated when I was really young, so we moved around quite a bit. I pretty much lived my life in the system, and it took me a long time to get things straightened out. But once I got on the right road, I just stayed on it. Oh, got to get closer to the mic.
Yeah, a little closer.
A little closer. And so I just stayed on the right road, continue to put my best foot forward and try to do what I can in my community to lift people up, stay informed and stay acknowledged. But I got 4 boys, 4 moms. That's a lot of kids. And, but I've been married to my wife now for 9 years, and we've been together 10 years, and just been a great thing. Douglas County is
that all you guys have been together? It feels like it's been a lot longer than that.
No, yeah.
I feel like you've been with her as long as I've been with my wife. So.
Probably about the same. I feel the same way.
We've been together for 20 years. So.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Don't tell her that. You just stick to the norm.
Yeah.
So we became friends years ago when we were both not good people.
Yes, that's true.
You guys were delinquents? What?
Yep.
Yeah, we were. I didn't do a lot to cause problems.
You were a magnet.
I was just a dumbass kid doing drugs and
Hanging out with us,
partying too much
Yep.
and doing stupid shit.
easy to do in Douglas County.
Yeah.
A lot of kids get lost in this area, to that realm of life. It's kind of sad actually to know that we can count in real time how people are getting sick and but not capture the kids that are actually being affected by that.
Yeah. You've worked pretty hard though, trying to, I guess, rebrand yourself and be a better person.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
I think I've done the same thing, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're more public with it because you're pretty active on social media and stuff. And
Yeah. Well, I try to stay engaged because I'm hoping that I influence, especially the younger kids, to know that there's a different way in life, that maybe the things that they don't see before them are the things that will lead them. Sometimes you have to carve your own stone and make your own way. And I was one of those kids that had to learn and be made an example of constantly to change.
yeah. Yeah, I like that. And I'm also a big supporter of people being able to change and second chances, and which is funny because probably not even 10 years ago, I was like not a second chance person. I was like, you are who you are the first 30 seconds I meet you, and that's who you are forever. And, but when you yourself are that person, you kind of have to start looking at everyone different. So,
yeah, you do.
Not Mike though. He's always been a gem.
Just a dick. Just a dick over here. It kind of reflects on the a saying that you get two lives to live.
Yeah.
Your first life and then your second life when you figure shit out.
Yeah. And most of us don't figure it out till we're fucking old.
Yeah, and then you're done.
Right, till you've been hit with that rock so many times.
Yeah.
God damn, that hurts.
Yeah.
You get to look back and go, God, I wish I would have pulled my head out of my ass like 25 years sooner.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way the world
I
works.
keep thinking how rich I would have been.
Oh my God.
If I would have just done this differently.
Yeah.
It's so depressing. I don't even think about it. I don't like to
depressed
cry
when I
in
think
public.
about it.
Oh man. Yeah. So, besides that stuff, you've always been really into cars and mechanics and that stuff, right?
Well, most definitely. I grew up in cars. My uncle was a painter. He was very big into building cars from frame up and selling them and stuff like that. My dad was a very big wrench head that we always worked on our own vehicles. We're always around cars. And at least to say, like, whatever we found in the car when we cleaned it, we got to keep it. So hence my problems, how they started at an early age.
You had a lot of lighters, huh?
All kinds of roaches. Yeah.
Right.
He was very 420 friendly. So
when you started trying to turn your life around, whatnot, I know you got in, did Cruise for a Cause.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you said that you've kind of dissolved that now.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about, how that came about and, how long you were doing that kind of stuff, some of the accomplishments, and then you can tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. So,
okay. So I grew up as a troubled teen. I had a really problem past, and after going to prison, I wanted to not reflect on my life, but to show people that there's a better way to do things. In the process of all the negatives, I lost my mom in 2007 to cancer. She died of acute leukemia. 2015, I lost my father to liver transitional cancer, which attacked every lymph node he had in his body. And it was just devastating to watch both my parents lose their lives to something so affecting to everybody. Everybody knows somebody that has cancer or has passed from cancer. And in the same time, I'm trying to redevelop my life. I'm trying to start this awareness in our community that there are programs right here that help our cancer patients. And it was a very eye-opening experience for me because, my mom lost her house. She couldn't afford the payments anymore. And me and my family handled it the wrong way. There's always a positive way. We handle it the wrong way. And she lost her home. And that was devastating to me. When my dad passed, he was a little bit more prepared, I guess, to say, and he didn't lose all of his stuff. But then I found out that there was resources right here in our own community, that can help. And a lot of people didn't know about these programs. I didn't understand how you couldn't know about something so great right here in my own hometown, to go through the devastation and just see that there's people here that have been doing it for so long and not know about it. I was like, how could you not know?
yeah.
And so I wanted to raise awareness to that. And we started, me and my friend at the time, it was still my friend, but my friend Ron Metzner and I, Ron helped me build a motor to raffle off as our first one. We didn't know anything about doing raffles. We didn't know anything about helping people. We just wanted to do something to honor my dad. And it was crazy because we did this great thing. And in one moment we do this great thing. And at the same time, this one person wanted to wreak havoc on this great thing because they weren't a part of it. I didn't even know who this person was. I'd be more than glad to make anybody a part of what we're doing if it's good. But they wreaked havoc on it, and least to be said, we had to become a nonprofit after that because we weren't a nonprofit at the time. But we were doing work as a nonprofit, and on social media, I did a live feed, and I said, "Oh, we're doing nonprofit work." Well, you can't use those words without any repercussion to it, and so we got a call from the DOJ, and we had to become a formal nonprofit, which we did. And for 7 years, we acted as a nonprofit.
You can't do anything without the government getting there.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh, they got to put their hand in
They want
everything.
their fucking hand there.
Even if they're not wanting the money, they want to know about the money, and they want to know who gave you the money.
Where did it go?
Where did it go? Who did it infect? Who got something? And it was a hard thing for me to swallow. But we became a nonprofit. It took a lot of paperwork, a little bit of finances to pay for things. Not much. It wasn't a lot of money to become a nonprofit. But we did that, and we did that solely because I got in contact with people at Douglas County Cancer Services. I saw what they did and how they touched the community and how they help people in our community. And all I wanted to do was continue to raise awareness for them. And so Cruise for a Cause started. We started building motors every year to raffle off. David, my buddy David, jumped on board with me, and he's just one of those gearhead guys that can just build anything. If he touches it, it's going to run.
Yeah, Mike's been friends with him forever.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. Well, and our families know each other pretty well.
Oh, yeah,
they all ran around with Mike, and they knew Mike, and I kind of know Mike and them from back in the day from school and stuff like that. I think I was a little bit older than you guys, though.
You're a couple years.
Yeah.
At least 2.
But it's amazing. It was amazing to get in contact with him and start doing what we did for Douglas County Cancer Services. It's one of the greatest programs in Douglas County that I can actually think of, that you see the money literally go to work for members in the community. And Jack,
I don't think we've ever done a raffle for them.
Oh, you should.
Throw them
oh, man.
Raffles, yeah.
Those ladies are so great. Jackie Barnett and Sharon. And
I know I've donated some gift baskets to them for different things, but I don't think I've ever done just put them as the recipient of the raffle. So,
well, I know in October they have the tea and fashion shows coming up, and that's such a great experience. It's kind of more female driven, the tea and fashion show, because you're dressing up and stuff. I'd love to see them do something where the dudes get up there and actually dress up, but they bring all these quacky firemen in, and they look cool because everybody, respects firemen, right?
Yeah.
But they got their own shirts. They do their own shirts and stuff. They sell shirts, the firemen do and stuff. But they seat the ladies. They do all this stuff, and they have this great fashion show. I think the tables are like $750 to $800 a table, 10 people per table.
Wow.
But to watch them do their thing and raise their money and see all the good work that they do and hear the stories. These are people in our community that are literally fighting cancer or have lost somebody from cancer, sharing their experience and their strength and their hope for other people in our community. And just seeing these ladies put this together was a big draw for me. I didn't know it at the time, but Jackie was a huge friend of our family's. I didn't realize what her connection was to my family. I sat on their board for a little while, but it was like more of a thing where Cruise for a Cause took over, so I couldn't participate in both. But they helped us. They helped us get Cruise for a Cause off the ground. They helped us stay motivated and focused on what we were doing, what our mission was, and how we drove that mission into the community. And we did that, by hosting car shows, building the engine, having an engine raffle, and then giving that money to them when we were done. Whatever we raised, whatever the sponsorships were, whatever was left over, we gave back to them. And to see it in real action and in real time was pretty amazing.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah. Well, those ladies, they don't stop. So what really got me was the first year they asked us to drive around and give food to people that couldn't care for themselves for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think it's more Thanksgiving time, but they do like a basket for every family that's fighting cancer, and everybody gets a regional area. And I always got Winston and Green, and it was very heartwarming for me to go see people in my community that I didn't even know, and what their battle looked like, and COVID, when COVID came around, it was a really big impact on me because these people didn't go anywhere. You know, they didn't go to the facilities to get treatment. They didn't go they were just afraid. Everybody was scared, you know, and they didn't want to leave their homes.
And they couldn't.
Yeah. And to go to their homes and give them food to just see how many of them didn't buy into all that hype.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
they're literally fighting for
just happy to freaking have someone to have a conversation.
Oh, they were.
Shit.
No, last year we delivered a box to a guy out in 10 Mile. And it was I've never done this before in my life. I've never done this. I've never prayed for anybody. I've never openly prayed for anybody. I've never said, hey, let me pray for you. And our coordination is to call before we get there, to text when we get to the door before we knock on the door so they know we're there, and then to knock, of course. And for some reason, I felt compelled to stay. You know, the person didn't answer the phone call. They didn't respond to the text. They didn't respond to the door. And this old guy, it probably took him 20 minutes to come to the door. 15, maybe I'm over exaggerating the number. It might've been 15 minutes. It was a long time. We were there for a while. And when he came to the door, I felt the presence of loneliness. It really touched me. And I instantly wanted to pray for him, you know, and I've never done that. And he let me do it. I said, let me pray for you. He goes, please do. And he wanted that contact. He wanted somebody to
human
talk
interaction.
to. Yeah. And how amazing that we shut the door on that during that time. You know, how many people did we miss? Not just with cancer, with so many other things. And so I think that just ignited it even more for me to do more, you know. But now I do it through my business instead.
Yeah.
It was a really some salt in the wound for me to let something so great go on its rise, because it's literally on its rise. It was literally making an impact that everybody saw a difference in. And it was definitely the first thing that I've seen in our community that was so community driven. Like everybody that was involved was about community. They were about helping people in their own area. And that was pretty amazing to me to witness that and be a part of it.
But now instead, you're just donating money through your business.
Yeah.
Instead of raising money through the nonprofit.
Right.
That frees you up a lot too, because it makes it so that you can, you know, on the fly be like, hey, these people need help too, so I'm going to help them out some too, instead of just everything having to be in one basket.
That's right.
So that's cool.
It is, and you know, like we talked before, the headache of you can never please every person.
Yeah.
Oh, especially with social media.
And yeah, so
you can anonymously have an opinion of something.
And it's
yeah,
just
everybody does.
And then it turns into the end of the fucking world for somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and so it takes that drama out of there.
Yep. Well, and that's what it turned to me. It turned more into drama. It turned into these things where people were just constantly wanting to know information, but they didn't want to come to the meeting. They wanted to be a part of something, but they didn't want to be present. And that for me was a little bit harder to take, especially when they would cause you malice just out of spite.
Yeah. They want to have a vote, but they don't want to contribute.
Yeah. Right? It's just like voting.
Yeah.
Well,
right? You want to have an opinion, but you don't want to vote.
Yeah.
That's just a struggle of life, you know. I deal with that at work too. You got a million fucking people that can stand back and point out the shit that's wrong, but nobody wants to take part in making it right.
That's right.
And I think that goes into a lot of things. And you know, you obviously have dealt with it firsthand with the charity and stuff. And
well, you know, it's like when I think of nonprofit work and what people do, it's you have to be constantly present. Like my phone now, since doing this, my number's been available to everybody in our community. I get people calling me, texting me, messaging me, wanting information, wanting to be a part of something, wanting a food truck, wanting a band, whatever it is. I don't even know who they are, you know, and they have access to me 24/7.
Yeah.
And it's a little hard to take that, right? You want your own private time, but when you're doing nonprofit work, there is no private time.
No, you have to be open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Well, you know, you and I have been partnered up for a long time as far as doing stuff together.
Since the beginning.
Yeah.
You and LB are my oldest sponsors. Both of you guys signed up in 2016, 2017, and you guys have rode with us the entire way.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, you, because of how active you are with everything, I just feel like, not only are we helping out, but my name's getting out there a lot, and I think that's cool. And but I know because of how much we help out in the community, how much we do in the community, what you're talking about as far as people calling. And luckily from the start, I said, I'm only going to have people get a hold of me through the store. They've got the store phone number and my email, and that's it. They don't have my personal cell phone number and whatnot, because and people will message me on Messenger or whatever too. I mean, that's almost like having my cell phone number, but it does allow me to, get away from some of that sometimes. Like I can not respond for a little bit without feeling bad about it, But I think that was a good decision I made from the start.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, no, I've loved partnering with you all along. I think it's been great.
Yeah, well, and that's why
I got this cool hood on my freaking wall of my office.
I know, that's sweet. That coming in, I didn't even catch me until I walked in. Walking out, it was behind me, of course, but coming in, I saw that, and it's like, that hood represents a lot to me, because now it's not on the Toyota. And another thing is, my dad wrote on the back of that hood. Like everything that he ever did to that truck is written underneath that hood because he didn't want to forget that stuff. So he wrote engine swap, clutch was done, everything he did, he wrote it down. If it was a significant amount of money, he wrote it down so he'd remember, this is still under warranty.
Right.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And so giving you the hood was like, I wanted to give you the hood because you deserve to be honored for what you do in our community. You're so giving and you're so caring. Umpqua Survival is always doing their part to prepare you for the fight. It's on the hood. And delivering that message to people that were short on finding the finances for cancer. I would use that pitch. I would say Douglas County Cancer Services is teamed up with us, and we're teamed up with Umpqua Survival, and they're doing their part to prepare you for the fight against cancer. And people just drew to that. And we even saw at the Community Cancer Center at Douglas, I shouldn't say Community Cancer Center, at Douglas County Cancer Services, there are two different entities. But we saw their numbers increase as well as people filling out applications for funds and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It was way awesome. And to be a part of people that literally were at a race or a car show that got that information from that and go there and literally get services right away. That was the amazing part. Like we're literally funding something that turned around and helped somebody that was just diagnosed with cancer
for the local community.
Right. And that's the most expensive part is like right when you get diagnosed.
Well, and that was the whole idea behind it to start with was to raise awareness that those opportunities are there.
Definitely.
Right. Because you had missed out on them in your life.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And when I missed out on with my parents, it's like if I would have knew these programs were there, we probably wouldn't have lost my mom's home. If I would have known these programs were there, we could have supplied more food and stuff like that for her well-being because she had foster kids at the time that she was taking care of. So they even got impacted. The ripple effect was immense.
It's huge. It is huge.
That's awesome, though. Mm-hmm. That's cool to hear. So you mentioned you opened your own business.
Yeah.
That's been going for a couple of years now.
Going on 3 now.
Yeah.
May will be 3 years.
Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, what are you guys doing? Man,
so I was working on the road all the time and I was gone constantly. And some days we'd be gone, 20, 25 days. Some days we'd be gone an entire month. Some days we'd come home just long enough to wash our clothes to hit the road again. And my wife and I just bought this brand new bed. Like it reclines up and it vibrates. It does all this stuff, right? And I would never get to sleep in that.
You're like, what the
hell? I was jealous, right?
No, we ain't having it. No more.
No. And so we're out on the road one day. Me and the foreman on site kind of got in a little tiff. And at the same time, it's like God literally opens doors at the precise times that you need him to open doors. Jeez. And he opened up this door for this shop. My guy I lease from, I don't know what you call him, property owner,
landlord,
the landlord. Yeah. He literally cut the price for me to be able to move into it because nobody was moving into the property. and made it affordable.
He
for
needed someone in
Yeah,
there now.
so
yeah.
I got pick of the shop. I had to come up with $1,500 to move in, and so I took my last check that I got from my job, quit my job, moved in, and we just started with nothing. We started with a chemical guys bucket and some stuff I bought at Walmart because they sell chemical guys at Walmart. So I bought a bucket, had some stuff in it. I ordered some stuff online, had a real hose, like a regular garden hose that I was washing cars with. And it just took a long time. You know, I tried to do advertising. Advertising didn't work out for me because, and I won't say the business's name, but I paid them money to produce advertising for me, and they would leave out the prefix to my phone number.
Like, oops,
Or they wouldn't-
we forgot something.
Right? They give the address, but not the
Sorry.
zip code.
Yeah. Sorry.
Great commercials. I use them all the time. I make my own videos now, so I use their
Yeah.
little sound bites to make my own commercials, but I cut out those parts. But it just took off from there. Word of mouth took off. People kept coming in, and the work just kept pouring in. It was a little slow at first. A few times I was really worried that I made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so. And God just kept providing for me, and the right things just kept happening for me.
You persevered.
Yeah, that's
There
exactly
you
what
are.
happened. And you know, David is a great friend of mine. He was a part of what we were doing with the nonprofit work, and he's still a part of what we're doing with the business. And to have somebody with his expertise with me, beside me doing this stuff.
I wouldn't say expertise.
We both work with.
I'd say knowledge.
No, there we go. Knowledge.
No, David's great. He is the shit. He knows his stuff.
But I couldn't do it without him, and I couldn't do it without my wife and our business. And we're going on 3 years now. Now we have some kids from the high school that work for us. We have 4 kids that work with us.
I think that's cool. So
Yeah.
right there.
Well, I don't know how it's going to work out for me because I pay them under the table. I don't know. Is that a real thing anymore? It's like bucking hay, right? That's the way I look at it.
10 cents a bill, bitch.
Right? Yeah, right? That's how I see it. I mean,
It works out until it doesn't.
well, you know, I
No.
pay my taxes. The people that pay for my services pay their taxes.
As long as you're on the up and up,
Right.
it's the way to go.
Well, you know, and I see it too is like we miss the connection with our kids these days.
Yeah.
They do want to work. They do want to be a part
Yeah,
of
they
something.
want to learn something.
Yeah, something.
They don't want to.
They don't want to flip burgers.
And you know, as a parent, you don't want to see your kid just all he does is play video games.
Right.
You know, or
Yeah, you got my nephew working for you. So
pretty damn. Cool.
I do. He's doing good. He better do better.
he's a little knucklehead. So
Yeah,
I'm glad he's got somebody that he'll listen to. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice because
You
my
get him
kids,
to
my
put the
kids don't
phone
listen
down.
to me.
yeah, well, kids don't listen to their parents or
No.
their
No,
family.
it's always somebody
it's
else
gotta
that
be some
influences
stranger,
them.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think I connect with them. I think I connect with all the kids because I was one of those kids in school. I dropped out in the 10th grade. And I connect with them because I didn't like school. You know, the teachers, they weren't bullies, but I was a problem kid.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, they didn't have to deal with problem kids. You know, they can kick you out of school
Yeah.
or they can.
There was no student left behind.
No,
bullshit.
right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, you're a troublemaker. I don't
Get
want
the fuck
you.
out of
Right?
here. Yeah.
But so I think I connect with them, you know, and it's like I see kids struggle today with maybe the adult spectrum of things of being guided. You know, not that their parents don't guide them, not that the school doesn't
No,
guide
not
them,
at all.
but maybe it's not the guide they're looking for.
Yeah.
You know, they
It's
need that extra
something
push.
different.
Yeah, something different.
Yeah.
And it is. You know, your dad's on you all the time. Your mom's telling you to clean up your room, and this
Right,
guy's
right.
telling you to, hey, you want to make some money? It's
If you do it this way, you make money.
That's
yeah.
right, yeah.
And they're like, money? What?
Yep. Well, and if you grab them young enough too,
Yeah.
they may gravitate towards something that
Definitely.
elevates their life.
100%.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I think it's a good thing, and he loves it. I mean, he's passionate about cars like you were
Oh,
growing up,
shit. Yeah.
and so you know, it just helps him. You know, it's something he likes, and so it makes him, you know, happy to go to work, and he's excited about every little thing that he does, and he just cracks me up because he'll brag to me about stuff, and I'll be like, dude, you were at work for 3 hours. I mean, how much?
Yeah.
I mean, how awesome could it have been?
Yeah.
You know, I was like,
He's trying to explain about how to screw a hose onto a,
yeah.
you know.
But I
And
mean,
everything we have is quick connect. There's no
Yeah,
screwing it
yeah,
all.
But,
exactly.
I mean, but the thing is that, you know, it's
It's the greatest
it's
thing
because
ever.
it's coming from someone else
yeah.
that he respects on a different level.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
and that's awesome because I mean, if he can learn those lessons from you, and then great. You know.
Well, and I
do
think this is his first job, isn't it? Isn't
Oh, yeah.
this-
Definitely.
Yeah, and so we've had our trial and errors. You know, there was a time there I was a little doubting myself, like, man, maybe I should just let the kids go. Maybe I'm not making enough money off
It's
of them.
hard, man.
And I kept putting the idea on making money, and really for me, it's not about that. Like when I first started, I'd make $1,500 a week, and I was barely paying my bills, thinking, oh, the money's gone already. I just made it. And now I make a lot more than that, and the money's still gone, right? So it doesn't really matter. So I took the idea of making money out of it.
On the
It's
money
like,
part,
just let they come to work. It's still hit or miss because they're still learning. What I do for a living is something that's very a trial and error learning process that you have to go through.
It's definitely a learned trait.
Yeah. And they're doing
Hands
it. They're
on.
doing it. It takes years. I've been doing it for 3 years now. I've done it. I did it before in the past when I first got out of prison. I started doing it. I should have stuck with it then because it'd be way different. It would have been a different hitch now. But I waited a little bit too late to start. But now that I see them doing it, I just see so much more potential. Like they're ready. Like we have a van now to do mobile detailing. And these guys are just gung-ho to drive that van, right? So all I see is a billboard driving around town.
Exactly.
You're like, I got to make sure that you guys understand you're going to be representing me.
Right.
Guess what, you little shits? You got to earn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Show me you earned it.
Yeah.
Well, and that'd be a little scary. I mean, you're not there to walk over their job and make sure that they didn't miss anything.
Right.
That's
And they're
where-
representing you.
Yeah.
That's where the trust
as an
issue
image.
comes in, and definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think you touched on it before. Is like, they do something bad. It doesn't reflect that they did something bad. It reflects that you taught them something or you didn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm still learning now that I have employees, which I've never had before.
Right.
They make a mistake.
Anybody.
I have to be the one that takes ownership in it, right?
Yep,
It's
yep.
like, oh, hey, no, I got new guys. They messed up. No, it's
Sure.
my mistake
It is.
because I didn't check their work.
Anybody can delegate something
Right. Oh,
for someone
easy.
to do.
Just keep pointing your finger.
There you go.
And
But
I don't think people realize.
it's the accountability that goes on to it.
Right.
And
Well,
Right.
and I don't think a lot of people realize that, customers come in freaking hot.
Yeah.
I mean, you have customers come in
Mm-hmm.
that are like, oh,
Unfortunately,
so-and-so did this, you need to fire them.
Mm-hmm.
that's the way it
And
works.
you're like, that's
reality.
not how life works, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't.
Every day.
At your job, would you get fired for screwing up one time? I mean,
Right. Right.
maybe. If so, you probably got a shitty job.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I know for sure you can screw up a lot at Mike's work.
Yeah.
Screw up on one of those boats.
I can tell you
He
some
complains
stories.
to me about it a lot.
I can tell you some stories. But no, it's a whole learning curve. And then, when you're in that, I guess the authoritarian change,
Mm-hmm.
if you'll say, it does reflect back on you.
Mhm.
Oh, I am the leader now.
Yeah.
It-
Well, and it does. I've caught myself a few times saying, "Oh, well, I shouldn't have the kids do this, or I shouldn't
Yeah.
have the," and I have to catch myself because it's not them. I'm the one
No.
guiding them.
You can't
Well,
second
and
guess
they'll
yourself.
never learn it if you don't ever let them do it.
Right,
right.
right. Well, and so David's very, very adamant about me keeping the details that have defects to them to make them rework them, and I want to give the customer their car back right away.
Right.
Right. So there's a big flaw there, but
There- it
I
is.
understand David's principle.
You want somebody to recognize their mistake and see what it takes
Yeah.
to fix that mistake.
Well, and then when you start pointing like, "Hey, you guys did
But
this,"
then when it were in a production setting,
yeah.
when it starts affecting the production,
Right.
you really can't do it that way.
Right. And I'm such a nice guy. I'm a pushover. I got grandkids their age, and that's I walk around the shop and there's half cans of soda still. There's water
Yeah.
open. I feel like I'm picking up after putting the tools away.
You gotta fix that switch in you.
Yeah.
Just be the dick. Say,
Right.
hey, you ain't doing this.
Yeah.
This ain't happening here.
I got it. Well, maybe you should come down and work with us a little bit, Mike.
You can say
Some more North River influence.
as far as like
The second day of that will be your biggest call-in day.
yeah, it would. I'm telling you now, it would. But like with Dominic or whatever, pull it into. You wouldn't do that for TT.
No.
Oh shit!
Uh,
I better make it right.
well, and just hearing about your experience with Dominic washing your truck.
Yeah. I mean, and I
Not to pick on him.
No, not at all.
In hindsight, I definitely can handle things differently. But I don't know. When it's your, that's why I think it's different when it's an employer.
It's yours.
Right? Because you look at it as an employer. You're not just angry instantly and start chewing people's ass, which, I'm looking, they're my kids and my nephew. And so, I mean, I instantly go to being angry and
it's okay to hurt their feelings.
Well, I just tell everybody
their family.
what I think all the time. And
blood's thicker than water.
And a lot of times they're not going to learn anything from that. They're just going to think they got in trouble and, screw you. Why would I ever help you again? Type of thing. Whereas coming from a boss point of view, you approach it a lot more politically correct. You're keeping it calm.
Unfortunately, you have
say,
to.
Look, you guys, I got to have better on this, and you explain why, I'm sure, and all that stuff.
Over and over.
Whereas I don't explain anything. I just explain that I'm not happy.
Yeah,
I do really good until it's like the fourth or fifth time, and then it's like
I don't even wait. I'm like the first time.
Then the F-bomb starts going off, and like, look here, you fucking
right. Well, I'm not a big cusser, so that helps him out quite a bit.
Oh, I am. It's like I'm not calling you fucking special ed, but are you special ed? I'm asking.
Well, and detailing. I mean, I've worked a lot of hard jobs in my life. I mean, I worked on the railroad. Doing railroad construction for long, that's a hard job. Drilling, I doing directional drilling and stuff like that for fiber optics and stuff. That's hard work. Long hours. You're gone away from home. I learned to appreciate my time more and to see these kids, have the opportunity to actually learn something. It takes time. Any job takes time. I mean, you cannot walk on a job and think you're going to know everything that day. It never happens. And if you don't want an employee for a year or 2 years, what are you doing really as an employer? Do you really? I mean, you know right away if somebody's going to work out or not.
Yeah, it's always the long term. You got to look at it as the long term.
But if they're teachable, you want to keep them, because if they're teachable, that means they're like a sponge, and you can keep feeding them all that information. And as long as they're gravitating, and if you find their interest, you can grow and mature that interest. They're going to be successful. They're going to thrive.
Yeah,
I see it with Dominic. I see it with Chance. I see it with Vinny. Vinny missed work today because he slept in. I'm going to say that right now. Vinny, don't sleep in no more.
What the fuck?
What a piece of shit.
But I told them, I know, right? I told the kids, I said, I will never fire you unless you steal from me. Yep. If you steal from me, you're gone. But as long as you come in and you make the commitment to learn, I will keep you around. I will keep trying. If I'm missing, maybe it's me coaching you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm coaching you wrong.
Because it reflects on you,
right?
Yeah.
Tell me how to communicate with you. Maybe I'm talking like mom and dad, and you're tired of hearing that womp 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 kind of sound, right? Yeah. And you want somebody to talk to you differently. Tell me.
Yep.
I'm an open book. I'll help you out. But the kids have done great. All three kids. Lily is our niece. She just recently started working for us. And I'm not going to, the boys, you better catch up because Lily's been there 10 days.
I'm going to tell you something.
Really good,
she's kicking their head.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something.
Girls are more attention to detail than
by
guys
God,
are.
they are.
Well, genetically.
100%.
I'm going to do better than the boys. So it's like, it's a competition.
She's proven a point.
Yeah. They have something to prove. And that's a shitty way to, go about life, but that's the reality.
Right.
Some of the best employees I have are fucking women.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and healthy competition is good.
Yeah.
Right? If you make it healthy and you allow them to compete with each other, as long as it's healthy, they can grow from that.
Definitely.
I got to pause this for 1 second.
All right. Just all kinds of great stuff.
Dude, that's the story of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Story of my life.
Mike and I are done. That was all the information we had is done.
Yeah.
Pull over. I got to pee.
I was telling Dominic the other day, this is like 2 weeks ago. You posted a video of them detailing a car.
Yeah.
But it was Dominic and
Did you have
Chance
it
and Vinny.
Did you have it on high speed?
No, just regular. I should have done it high speed.
No, but it was them. It was them working, and I came home and and Dominic didn't even know you had posted that video. I came home. I said, "Dude, you're finally famous." I said, "I didn't even believe you really still worked there."
Yeah,
but you finally made it into a video. And
he's like,
"What? And he goes, oh, did I?" And I was like, "Yeah." Brett posted a video, and I said, "He's been so ashamed of how you guys work that he's never posted that he has any employees at all. I said, finally he put you guys in a video. So I thought that was pretty cool. You must be really stepping it up.
Whatever, Carlos.
Well, they did Dr. Yoon's BMW, and it's beautiful car and easy to clean.
Yeah.
But they did a phenomenal job, and Dom and Chance both took pictures, and they both took different stuff. They both posted different things on social media.
Of course.
Right. And I was like, well, that's cool. They took some ownership, and that's what I want is I want them to take some ownership in it. I mean, it's a great opportunity for them.
You can only do that when the logo's in the background.
Right.
Well, you were talking before my little break. You were talking about healthy, competition, healthy competition.
Yeah.
So that's part of why I created my freaking incentive program that I want run with my employees. Also because I put stuff in my incentive program that they can earn points off of that helps me out.
Oh, cool.
So like they earn points for sending me pictures and videos and stuff that I can use on social media. And then those points turn into, for me, it's usually money or store credit is what I give my guys. But I mean, you can do whatever works for your guys.
Yeah.
But it helped me out a lot. I mean, it gave me, cause I mean, you do all your social media too. So, know, that's almost a full-time job by itself.
Yes, it is.
So,
tell Mark that.
Yeah. Any help you can get, any people sending you pictures and videos that you can maybe not use
for advertising.
It helps you out a lot.
Yeah.
And that helps me out a lot. And they all enjoy it. I mean, they love it. And it gives them a reason to remember to videotape something.
Oh, I better take a picture of this.
Yeah. Well, it's just the engagement itself because you're fighting an algorithm.
Yeah.
And the more engagement you have, the higher your algorithm is going to be. Even like doing stuff for Looking Glass Brewery, it's like I tell them, hey, share the post. You make a post or have the servers make a post or have somebody else do it because a lot of times your algorithm is drained because you're doing Qual Survival and you're doing your personal page. But like for me, I'm doing my business page, my personal page, Qual Survival. At the time I was doing Cruise for a Cause. So there's like 4 different pages. And so my algorithm gets suffered or suffocated, so I need the interaction. Now that we're not doing C4AC, it's like different because I've seen my growth a little bit, but at the same time, like getting the kids engaged, getting that younger generation involved.
Yeah.
That's the impact. That's the impact we're all looking for, really.
Well, and it gives them that ownership.
Yeah.
And
accountability.
It helps morale.
Yeah.
And it gets you in front of an audience that you might not have seen before.
Right.
So, so it's worked out well for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think every business could benefit from it.
Oh boy, that looks like serious business.
It's Pete. That's our gunsmith.
Yeah.
Well, and like I was thinking of some things the other day to drive them a little bit more to be a little bit more active, not just in the social media presence, but also their details to incentivize them. And it's hard to think of compensation being a thing because I don't really believe in the value of money that much other than it provides things. How much things do you want it to provide for is what you're trying to achieve. And trying to get them to acknowledge what they're looking at, who they're, touching or talking to, and I thought, oh, wait a minute. They don't know nothing about pricing. Yeah. They don't know nothing about the size of a car versus the detail factor, the ceramic coatings, the polishing. Like there's a lot there to learn, and I don't want to give them too much information because then it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But they got people that ask them, hey, how much is it for a detail? And I'm like, oh, I better start schooling them a little bit, because that's another representative. That's an extension of your business.
Definitely.
And if they're professional about it and they know what they're talking about, that's even better yet. Yeah. Right. Because then at their age,
you start with the basics.
Yeah. Right. The basics are the best thing to do, because they don't understand it until they get full knowledge of everything. Paint correction is a very hard thing to do, but at the same time, detailing is very basic, right? You're going to clean a car. How clean is it going to be? It
seems very basic.
Right. Well, I should say it's really hard.
Having Dave in there is probably lifesaver when it comes to paint correction.
Oh man.
Got a guy that's been painting cars for 50 years.
I've seen some stuff. So, and I would never, there's so many detailers in Douglas County. I have seen some stuff. I can tell you right now, you are not going to know anything about paint in the first 2 or 3 years of your detailing business. You are not going to know anything about paint unless you have painted something.
What do you mean?
David has painted some stuff, and to watch him polish cars that have enamel on them, did they have different clear coat factors on them, different variations of paint. GM to Toyota is completely different on how much paint and clear coat are on it.
Yeah,
you got to know that stuff. I've watched guys literally burn through a paint job on a brand new 3500 HD dually truck because they want to get a scratch out, but the clear coat is so thin they just burn right through that crap.
Yeah,
I don't know that, but David can literally look at it and go, I know that, and do it, and I don't have to worry about it, and that's the best part.
Don't touch that.
Right? Don't touch. Let me do it.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's a lot for these guys to do what they're doing. Just the basics of detailing has been like today was their first day to break down a whole interior of a vehicle, front to back, and not leave a crumb. You know, just getting that aspect down. A lot of people don't realize smells stick underneath your seat. They stick behind the caps that cover up the nuts and bolts to hold the seat down.
In the sound deadening in the car.
Right.
I learned that the hard way when I was a kid. I freaking got car sick in my aunt's car. And I don't remember what it was. A big boat car.
You puked in your aunt's car?
Projectile vomited.
What the fuck?
And it went in the air vents.
Oh yeah.
No. And I swear to God, she had that car until she passed away. I mean, she had that car for 15 years after that, 10, 15 years.
Like, yeah, turn that
and
fucker
every
off.
time we turned the heater or AC on in that car, you could smell fucking vomit.
Oh, that's gross. That's gross.
That's
But
terrible.
yeah, so that stuff gets into those nooks and crannies and you can't get rid of it.
No. And yeah, you can't. And people they're messy.
So you had to actually pull the interior out.
Well, no, not. I have the tools now that can reach around everything to get into spots. I mean, we do details where you do pull the seats and everything out. The idea is not to have to pull the car apart as much as possible. But like we're doing a Mustang right now, everything has to come out in order for it to be put back in the order the person wants it to be, and they want it to be brand new again. Yeah. And they're willing to pay that money. A lot of people aren't. They just want a very clean car. But you buy the right tools to do the right job, and you teach the people the right way to do it, they can make the same outcome. You're not really missing a lot by not pulling a seat out. Mm-hmm. There's only 18 inches, 19 inches there that you're dealing with of undersurface, the air steam can't take care of. But there's a lot of cars that you have to pull it out because you got to get the center console sidewalls. You have to get underneath the seat to get whatever they poured down in there out, But again, you buy the right tools, it helps you.
Drop my orange Julius.
Oh yeah. My favorite part is when they say it's not that bad.
My what's the local coffee stands?
Like Dutch Bros?
Yeah, I dropped my Dutch Bros.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
It's not.
Yeah. All that sugar and stuff.
No shit.
You can't get rid of that stuff. Yeah, you were giving me a hard time about my truck today.
Yeah.
So I told you it's clean enough for me.
Like I fucking drive it.
Yeah.
Well, and you think of the concept like you, and this is just to say you drive that truck all the time. Let's just say you get a cold 4 or 5 times a year, but you drive your truck 60, 70% of your time, right? You're on the road, you're doing things, and everything that you breathe goes through your cabin air filter. It goes through your vents. It's circulated through your cab, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're breathing everything that's on your floor coming right back up through your vents because it sucks in through the floor underneath your seat. That's where the air vents are, right? And so it cracks me up when people come in and they, that's not that bad. And you open it up and it's like,
what the fuck is that?
It smells like an ashtray.
You're wearing a mask? What are you wearing a mask for?
Are you fucking raising chickens in this son of a bitch? What the fuck?
They just worked on a Mazda. The Mazda that they worked on today, the person lived in the car. I don't know how they were financially, but they were able to buy a new car. It was a trade-in vehicle. It came to us, and it was just disgusting. And the dog pee alone on the ground. I mean, like you can see it when the chemicals start working.
Yeah.
You know where the dog's been. You know what it's done. You
Yep.
know what business it took care of. And they had to deal with it. And to watch them deal with it, like seeing them wear the full respirator masks and the proper stuff to work with, and being in there working, it was a rewarding thing because
That's funny. Yeah,
and the customer will love it because when that car will not look the same. It looks brand new and they haven't even done the physical dressing on it yet. You know, if they've only done the breakdown portion of it, they haven't like wiped the panels down or dressed it, any of that stuff. And so once they're done with that, it'll look brand new. And by all means, not to toot my own horn, but it means the training's working too. So
Right.
I'll tell you, the only thing as far as cleanliness of a vehicle that drives me crazy is my windshield, dude.
Oh,
My windshield has to be clean on the inside and the outside. And I mean, and I'm anal about it. It freaking, every little thing bugs the shit out of me. I'll let it fucking pile up for a while.
Yeah.
Until I just can't handle it anymore.
What the fuck is this?
I
well,
just can't
glass
do
is
it.
the worst.
Yeah.
Out of detailing, out of anything in detailing, the thing I dislike the most is glass. You literally have to do glass like 9 times to get it perfect. And there's not anybody around that's going to tell me any different. Every detailer fights it.
Well, and honestly, it's true about your house too. I remember when I was a kid growing up and we'd go to my grandma's house, and our job at my grandma's house was to dust and clean all the windows. And all the glass we were required to use, I'm sure it was still Windex back then, but I mean, it's Windex and newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And she would not let us use anything other than that.
Because the ink on the newspaper polishes.
Right. Dude, and honestly, to this day, newspaper gets fucking glass clean.
Oh,
yeah.
So we've been doing it for a long time. My brother, Eric, he wanted to come and do some side work with me for a while because he was out of work. And so he comes and works, and next thing I know, he's like, and the horrible part was I was saving these newspapers because they had special articles in them.
Oh, fuck.
But he's like, I'm tired of using the rags. He starts using my newspaper to clean the window.
Like, what
and
are you doing?
It works. It does work, you know, but like car glass is a little bit different than house glass.
For sure.
You know, there's a film on every layer. And, but it was just funny because the newspaper thing cracked me up because I was like, oh man, I was sponsoring the Urban Beast. And he was going to all these burnout competitions, right?
I was keeping that.
Well, I was keeping the article because I was going to frame it because nobody, you won't get the news review coming down taking pictures of my shop or promoting my business. And somehow this guy got the news review to come down and write an article about him, and he's literally during a burnout in front of my shop, just ripping it out. Right? I'm like,
oh man.
We ended up using that newspaper for cleaning the windows, and
you know those old newspapers like that. You can get a hold of the news review, and they'll pull up those old articles,
you can buy the copy.
and they'll print them on tin, and you can have the tin frame.
I would love that.
It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
It's a negative on tin.
Really,
it looks badass.
I would love that because it was such a great article that they wrote for Kevin. You know, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we sponsor him too.
Yeah, Kevin Brown. He's doing such a great job. He needs a little bit of help, a little bit more people that would help him focus a little bit more so he doesn't have to do all that. I know firsthand how hard it is.
He's out of pocket so much.
Yeah.
That, I mean,
Yeah, he is.
He really needs to.
Right.
He needs to bring more to the table so that what people are willing to donate more to.
I agree.
His thing. It's just it's hard to get that. It's hard to figure out where to find that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to do it all by yourself. So
yeah, just don't stop.
Yeah.
Just keep, because you're going to find it. I mean, it took a while for us to do and find our niche when we were doing our nonprofit work. It took a while to gather the right people that understood what you were doing. You know, a lot of times people don't have an understanding of what you're trying to do, or they don't buy into the idea of what you're trying to do. And the hardest thing to do is ask people for money, right? It's hard to go up and say, hey, you know, I work really hard for my money. And I know you work hard for your money, but hey, can you give me $1,000 for my pit fee? You know, it's like, I'm going to go race my car with your money. That's right.
The other thing is finding people that are positive, you know, that are positive, and, you know, they're trying to build you up too. And there's so many people out there that are just, they focus on the negatives and what are you doing for me?
What do I get out of it?
Yeah, what am I going to get out of this? Instead of looking at the big picture where, you're helping someone else out too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's the idea of being responsible and accountable to your community. If you're going to put yourself out there in front of people, you want to make sure that you represent yourself the way you speak, right? Like I will never, I'm really bad at making promises and keeping them. And my wife, I won't use, she doesn't hate it. She dislikes it very much.
Quit making promises.
Right? That's what she says. That's exactly what she said. Hey, what'd you do? You just had like 5 beers and you made that guy a promise. I said,
what the hell are you thinking?
Did you write it down so I can remember it?
Thank you, honey.
But it's like, it's one of those things that, you literally have to be accountable for your words when you're doing that kind of stuff. And social media, unfortunately, makes it to where anybody can hold you accountable and not even be a part of it. And it's not bad that they hold you accountable. I think it's a good thing that people in your community hold you accountable, but I think it's a bad thing if they get to hide behind their opinion.
Yeah.
They don't,
or they're just trying to hold you accountable to be malicious.
Yeah.
When we first
just
started
to stir shit.
Yeah. When we first started C4AC, we were very, outgoing at being, in the limelight. We wanted to be the loudest outreach in Douglas County. We wanted to be the loudest outreach in Oregon. We wanted people to know who we were. So we were going to all the large parades with Florence, Portland. I mean, we went everywhere. At Boatnick down in Medford. We followed all the giant parades, and just one person heard or understood who I was voting for and took that as
change it into
right and turned
shit.
it into something else. And it was so sad.
Like,
For them to do that, because when I found out who they were, I was mad. Right, I wanted to get back at them. I was like, "Man, I'm gonna get this lady." And then I saw her, and she was old. And I was like, "Oh crap, I can't get her."
I would
have. But I did get her. So I went to one of the community or one of the county meetings that they do every Wednesday, and she happened to be there, and I had found out who she was, and we went and did some work for her at her house, and she didn't realize who we were because she never had seen us before. She just knew that she wanted to downgrade us, and so
to use the
right. We did the good work, and then she put the face to the good work, and she started crying, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't even know I was doing that. I'm so sorry I did that." And I was like, "But you did, and I want to say thank you for what you did, because I would never have known that I had to fill out this paperwork. I would never have known I had to do these things, and so I did these things." But man, what was the salt in the wound is she turned around and did it to somebody else right away. And to know that she still works at a public office level.
Yeah, that's where.
And this was her, and to see them in real time, to see their little squad in real time. Like I was sitting, and I'm not one of those eavesdropper kind of people, right? I don't try to get in people's business, but I happened to be seated in a certain spot, and all 4 of these individuals were on, at the time, I think it was Douglas County. It wasn't Rants and Raves. It was something else, and they turned it into Douglas County. It was whatever it was, page that they were running. But it was 4 people acting like they were 20. They had like 4 or 5 different Facebook pages, and they were logged into them, and they would make their own comments. They would comment like 5 or 6 people were attacking this one person.
Just strumming up fucking shit.
And to see that, I was just like, man, there's some crazy people around here. To even think that way, to think that
they were running their own little private troll farm.
Oh, yeah, 8 or 9 different Facebook pages, and they're just tearing people down. And it's like, oh, you're just one person. You're not 9 people. You're just one person.
Hold on one second. Oh, sorry about that.
Just the satisfaction, you said you did doing the work and all that shit, but it's the thank you and the fuck you at the same time.
Right. Well, and that's what made it hard for us to decide not to continue, because again, I'm not a religious person. I'm a faithful person.
Right.
But like I went to Blackberry Festival 3 years ago. It was going to be our last year doing it. I was done. I was done doing it.
That's a hard one.
I was done. People getting on Facebook, talking smack, doing their thing. And this guy out of nowhere, this person, I didn't even know who he was, comes up to us at the Blackberry Festival and he goes, "Hey, I've been following you for a couple years. I just lost my wife to cancer. It's been very hard for me. I don't have any money that I need." Right. He goes, "I have everything that I'll ever want." He goes, "But what you've done for me is completely different. Like you, I wouldn't even have come out to this car show today if I didn't think that you were going to be here. And that was enough for me to say, hey, I want to continue this. I want to keep doing this.
100%.
Because he didn't want to be by himself. He just wanted somebody to hear him. And he talked to me for like a half hour, you know, and just listened to everything he went through, all the things that cancer does in a person's life, all the things it takes away. It's not just a person's life. It's everything that they built around that gets taken away as well. And to hear that from him, I was like, wow. Yeah. I'll do another year. Mm-hmm. And my wife was like, oh, you said you weren't going to do it. I said, I'll do one more. And then the next year it happens again. You know, we give the motor away. A little girl came up to us and she just lost her father to cancer, and to hear her story. And she was so young. Yeah. And to hear her be so prevalent about what she was speaking about, I was like, wow.
I can't stop now.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
And it's assault. It really bothers me that we did decide to stop doing it. But for my own health and well-being, I was getting to a point
only
where,
in that aspect, though. Yeah. Because you're still carrying it on.
Well, we're still going to carry it on. We're still going to support Douglas County Cancer Services. We're still going to support the message.
There you go.
We're still going to drive that home. We're still going to be outreach for them, because nobody can stop me from doing what I'm going to do through my business.
Yeah.
I'm going to do outreach for them continuously. And just so that everybody in our community knows that there is something here. There's something right here in Douglas County.
That's the best part about doing it through your business is, you know, you're not bound by all those other rules. You can give to who you want to give to, when you can afford to give. And if you want to do something that is all about, you know, some cause, that's up to you. You can make it all about that. And you don't have to report to anybody on that or anything else, you know. The worst case scenario is if you don't do it all by the rules, you don't get all the tax credits for it. But, you know, whatever.
Right. Well, and then we're back to that thing about money. You know, I don't care about money. I really don't. I've had it. I haven't had it. I you know, when my mom passed away, my brother and I were given a life insurance policy. I spent that money in 30 days. It was gone. And I don't have anything that money touched. It was all gone. You know, and to know that you can be blessed with something so quickly and have it gone just as quick, you know, it's like, really, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You're either going to chase it or you're not going to chase it. I'd rather not chase it and rather build it up. If it impacts somebody like what we're doing through our business now, if it helps these kids in the long run strive for something better, whether it be detailing or finding something else in their lives that they strive for, I'm not going to turn my back on them. You know, I'm not going to close that door on them. Everything is a learning lesson that you grow from.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. I like that idea. I'm going to pause for 1 second because you guys, both your glasses are empty. So, anyways, now you guys got refills.
Yeah.
So I feel like your conversations are going to make more sense to people.
Way more sense.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Is the mics on?
What?
Oh. They're on. Yeah.
Carlos?
We're live.
Well, you know, and talking about some of this stuff, that's why, like, the idea for us with the Survivor Nova, is to start grabbing these kids, you know, and letting them have some motivation to want them to get on the track, to be a part of building a car, to be a part of racing a car, understanding what it takes to take care of a vehicle like that. And the Nova is literally perfect for that. It's like the perfect car. I learned in it. I knew nothing about racing, right? And
some would say you still don't.
I don't. I'm still learning. I am still learning.
So, I hear the stories from Dave.
The more I become, so to become a part of anything, you have to do it over and over again, right? To find the smooth niche.
And the way fucking on,
right?
Fucking experience.
Trial and error learning. I've blown the motor up a couple times. Thank God for David, because he's a wealth of knowledge. Rebuilt the motor a couple times, a little bit of money here and there.
You come back to the shop and he's like, "You stupid son of a bitch!"
Right. What the fuck are you thinking?
You know what was funny was when David. So we never ran the nitrous the whole entire time we had the car. We haven't ran the nitrous, and so one day, you know, David gets a wild hair up his butt. He's going to drive the car.
Yeah.
He's going to hit the switch.
Guess what?
Guess what? I think he built the valve spring or something.
It wouldn't handle that.
Yeah, it didn't because we didn't have the the timing retarded enough to handle the nitrous, right? But another learning curve. But now David hasn't driven the car since he's afraid to break it. And I'm like, no, go break it. I want you to. I want to see what the car does. But he's constantly teaching me how to run, how to do burnouts. Just different things.
Watch the light, learn the light.
Yeah.
There's so much goes into it.
He tells me to slow down. I'm like, what do you mean slow down? He's like, hey, when you pass the car, slow down so you don't race out of your dial. And I'm like, I've never heard of such a thing. Yeah. Slow down. I want to smoke that dude so bad.
No,
I want like 18 cars.
Like, you're racing the clock, fucker.
Well, that's what he said. And I said, well, let's find the top point.
Yeah.
Let's just race to the top point. I'd rather race that car to its full potential.
Balls out.
Just be me against the light, right? Yeah, balls out the whole entire time. And it was funny because a couple races ago, this lady, I was doing really well. I was like moving up the bracket pretty quick. I was beating everybody. I wasn't beating myself. And I was like, I said, oh, you're such a sweet old lady. And I never won a race after that. She beat me every time.
Yeah, you sucker.
She's like, fuck you, you bastard.
Sucker.
I think they were against me on the track because it was her home track. And I think they were giving me a bad light.
Right.
All that
they baited your ass
like,
right in. You fell for it.
I'm pretty sure you knew before that. You should not say old lady.
Well, it came out because I always called my mom old lady.
I'll show you, fucking old lady.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
She goes, I'll show you. And she told me after she beat me, she goes, I told you not to call me that.
He was like, oh, I was being nice. What are you talking about?
Dude, that's freaking funny. Oh,
I didn't call you.
And that's what our sponsorship will go to from now on. It'll be going towards making sure these guys have a will to get behind, make sure the kids have a will to get behind. And if they want to get in it, so the boys right now, I'm working on the boys. I'm trying to get them built up for it, to get them to see, hey, this could be a lot of fun for you. Your parents can come.
I ask Dominic all the time why he doesn't ever go to anything.
Oh, I want there's a race.
Because I know you invite him.
You guys were over there last weekend or 2 weekends
ago, yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, you going to the coast? He goes, why would I go to the coast?
Yeah.
I was like, they're racing.
Yeah, I'll pay their
like,
entry
what?
fee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Friday night lights would be the best night that they can go because you get more time on the track. You get to go up and down the track a lot more. But I told them, you guys come out, bring your family out, come out and camp, come be a part of it, and be familiar with it. I mean, it's a big machine, just to jump in and go, but it's the right machine to do it in.
Sure.
It's like it's built right. So we'll see how it goes. I've been trying to get them. Even my grandkids, I'm like, hey, come try it out.
Yeah.
You're 110 pounds lighter than me. It's going to go way faster.
They're little motorheads. Yeah. Get them out there.
Yeah. If they could drive their little beater racer cars, they'd probably be all about it.
Right. Well, like Dominic's Honda would be perfect for it. Like these guys come out there on Friday Night Lights, you can race whatever you brought.
Almost a grudge race type.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's run what you brought, get in the lane and go. All the time. You're just racing the light, anyways. Heads up racing is a little bit different nowadays, unless you're, top filler or something like that.
That's just time.
Racing.
You're just racing for time.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It's a lot of fun though.
Well, that kid doesn't need to break anything, so.
He'd actually probably be really good at it.
Perfect. Fucking brilliant right here. They got a samurai sitting at my house that you can go and fucking
No, that just needs to stay there.
No.
I've seen that samurai. It needs some love.
They can take it and do something with it, so it's not sitting at my fucking house.
Yeah, sell it. That's what they need to do with
it. Yeah.
I'm just glad it's not at my house anymore.
Well, it will be.
No, it won't.
It's the new race car.
Family squabble.
No, there's no squabbling.
Brilliant.
Dude, that freaking samurai almost ended up in my freaking bedroom.
Yes, it did.
It fit.
When we were moving.
There's no fucking brakes on the motherfucker.
We had it up on the hill, and we went to freaking move it.
So,
and
Ronnie,
my brother-in-law, who owns it,
we talked Dominic
thought that the brakes worked in it, so they threw Dominic in it, hold the brakes down.
And he's like, throw it in gear. And Dominic said, I don't know what to do. There's no fucking drive line in the motherfucker either. So it went right in the side of the house.
Oh, no.
All it did, it broke one baluster on the porch.
Dude, that was so funny.
Otherwise, everything else was fine. And nobody got hurt.
Just the look on Dominic's face was fucking classic, man.
Oh, yeah, the best part was,
he was panicked.
The stupid samurai almost went into the house. Dominic almost died. you know.
Yeah,
quote unquote.
traumatic.
And all anybody did was look at me to see how mad I was.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, everybody looks at me like, oh fuck, we're in trouble.
Oh.
And I was like, I just maintained. I was totally calm.
Carlos
I was
did
like,
good.
Nobody got hurt.
He did
Are
good.
you like the father figure of the group?
Dude, of everybody else. Well, actually, I'm just the guy that gets angry fast.
Yeah. He did awesome.
I don't see that in you.
He just looked. He looked down at the steps like, yeah, it didn't break that bad.
Yeah.
Let's get it out of here. God, that was funny.
That's hilarious.
Put it
Well,
in here.
this
Put it
weekend
in
would be a
here.
great weekend for them to come over because we're going to, not this weekend, but the weekend of the 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd, we're going to be at Coos Bay Speedway. The Redwood Rally, which is a big hit. They just started it last year, and it sells out. The minute it hits the internet, it's sold out. First 100 cars get in, they're done. They start out in Medford. They go to every track on I-5. They go up to Woodburn.
And then turn around and go back.
Go to Coos Bay, go all the way back to Medford. I think they go down to Reading, too. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at the
Sonoma.
schedule again. Yeah, Sonoma. They have a big schedule, but it sells out right away, and that starts off on Thursday. And then Friday Night Lights happens, of course, and that's Run What You Brung. And then Saturday is King of the Track. Sunday is King of the Track, so it's a twofer.
That's the trophy.
Yeah,
fucking,
it's a trophy run.
The year.
And then Saturday night, we get to do our own. They let me. I've been doing it. I've been trying to do this for such a long time. Coos Bay Speedway was another person, another group that let C4AC be a part of their facility and do things there. They allowed us finally, after years of talking to them, let me have an after party. Let me bring the beer. Let me bring the band.
Yeah.
Let me do something on the track. And Drake come up to our camp the weekend before last, and he's like, "You really want to do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." He goes, "All right, I'll let you do it this time." And so it's like, yeah,
nice.
Right? I put LB on the spot, put Uncle Survival on the spot.
Business,
right? Yeah, it'll be great. It will.
The cool thing about it is,
remind me before you leave today, and I'll give you a new banner.
Okay,
that's more up to date.
The cool thing about the whole event is you guys get to camp right there.
Oh yeah. And you just pay to get in, so camping's really cheap because it's like $15 a person to get in, $10 a kid or something like that. But you're not paying for camping either, and they have a big facility there. It's so much fun. I mean, they do like a few weekends ago they did Bikes and Bugs. I think that was like right around mid-August that they did Bikes and Bugs. That's another great turnout.
Yep.
Put on by a local bike group here in town. They do a great job doing it. They raise a lot of money. But there's so many people there that are from Douglas County. There's nowhere. I mean, you have to go to Medford or go to Woodburn to race.
Yeah.
Everybody shoots over to Coos Bay. You're
Closest.
there in 45 minutes, right? And then you're back home. You can go race and come home all you want. But the Wilkies are there. There's a few other families there. Stefan, he owns a shop right there in Green. He goes all the time, takes his Dodge down there. And now they've collectively become a part of our group for doing our car shows. And so when we do these car shows, we got all these big tire cars, right? And they're all alcohol burning, you know.
That's cool.
Oh, it's way cool. Billy C and those guys, they do the Redwood Rally. Billy C showed up to Hot Rods, Handlebars, and 4x4s, and I think he probably bought 15 cars with him. Him and Dan Clark brought a ton of cars with them and filled up the whole lot, and they were all cotton candy cars. I mean, that's all you smell is this cotton candy in the air, and it's like they're burning high alcohol. And it's all during graffiti week, so it's very high influence, you know. And then, of course, you know, being a part of, not me personally, but everybody going out to Route Rod Roundup and being a part of Route Rod Roundup.
Sure.
When we did the fall festival out there, we did that in, a couple of years ago. We exposed that property out there, and now everybody wanted that property. And, you know, and they got Rat Rod. I was so happy that Rat Rod got it because I couldn't do it. Our group couldn't put on a show of that magnitude, and that's what it needed was somebody that can have that influence. You know, and those guys, they had that influence. Rat Rod did a great job out there. I mean, holy crap. There was
I heard
like 5,000 or 6,000 people out there. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing for the Douglas
and again,
County
they
stuff.
donate to the trades. You know, they donate to scholarship funds to put kids in school, and it's another great program, and it's going to continue. I think they're going to go to, I think that property's selling now, and I think that they're going to go to the fairgrounds, which is, it's a little harder to have a burnout competition at the fairgrounds. I wish the fairgrounds would open up more because there's a lot of flat pavement there that they can access. A lot of it has to do with the insurance and stuff like that. But again, we're on our own.
There's all
community,
kinds
right?
of
We should be able to do
logistics.
that.
Yeah.
There is, but we all influence that stuff. You know, I mean, the people that we know, the whole positions of, I don't want to say power. They just hold positions in our community that have influence.
The higher influence.
They should use that influence. You know, it's like you see Champagne Creek Ranch doing phenomenal work, right? And that was a sore thumb for everybody for a long time.
Yep.
They didn't understand what OHV meant. They didn't understand what a park like that meant.
Sure.
And here it is something where they search and rescues out there getting trained all the time.
Yep.
Firefighters getting trained.
The kids' ATV licensing.
What was it, a rundown dump or something like that? It don't look like that no more.
It was dilapidated, unusable property.
It's beautiful. We go out there in March when they do their mud run and stuff, or their little course run that they do. It's not little, it's big. I minimized it right there. It's a big run, but it's phenomenal. The sponsorships, all the people that are involved are the same people that are involved in our community. And you see it over and over again. Yeah. I think we missed the mark only on the influence of what we can actually do in our community because we think we have to be national based instead of community based. Yeah. If we focus more on our community, we'd have a bigger impact.
Yep.
I agree. Yeah. And there's, a lot of people do a lot of stuff in the community on a regular basis, and Champagne Creek's one of those places. I really like it.
Right. So. Well, I do too. And I, not to say I back anybody because now I can say that, but I back Virgil 100%.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
There's nothing that guy, I don't know. He's a grain of salt, but he does great work.
I'm going to get him on the podcast.
Oh
soon.
God, you're going to have a great podcast.
Yeah.
That guy, he can talk. He knows what he's talking about when he's getting in there, talking about the Jeeps and stuff like that, and what he does with Twin Peaks blows my mind because
definitely with the outreach and
Well, he runs a program for bullying, right? He's a big person that runs a program for bullying. He goes to the schools and talks about bullying and stuff like that. And I think he does a great job.
Youth interested in something.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, and he grew up here. He went to Douglas,
Of course.
Matter of fact, I met Virgil back in the day. I think I went to Douglas in the
mountain party.
Grade. Yeah, right.
What?
I was in the 9th grade, and Virgil. So in school we had the jocks, the stoners, and the hicks. Right.
Yeah.
And Virgil was one of those guys that was a part of every group.
Yeah, he did all of it. All inclusive.
All inclusive.
Yeah.
He didn't have a person that didn't want to be his friend, right? Yeah. And it was funny because at the end of the year, it was like this big thing going to high school. At the end of the year, there's always this big brawl, right? It was the stoners against the hicks and the jocks, and they were gonna have this big old fight, and they'd get out there.
There's always something.
Virgil was like out there in the middle, like, "Hey, you guys,
can't we all just
keep
get
the
along?
Peace? Yeah, let's go shoot BB guns at each other, right? Because we go have these BB gun wars all the time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so funny, funny. God, we grew up.
No shit, I wouldn't do it that part any different.
Right? No way.
That was the best.
So much fun.
You could not get away with that now.
Yeah, but he's got a pretty busy schedule, so it's tough to get him wrangled in. But I'm planning on having him on the show pretty soon.
Right. So, he does have a busy schedule. I don't know. It's hard when you're being an active person in our community, fighting for our community.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that he took on that role better than anybody has. In my time as an adult thinking about politics in our community, Virgil has been a forefront for that. And I can see it wholeheartedly. And I'm not trying to toot his horn in any way. A lot of people have disagreements or things that they don't care. It doesn't really matter to me. I know him personally. I've seen him in action personally. I know how he treats people. And so that sways my vote immensely.
Well, I think he got so involved with search and rescue that I think he started really seeing the impact of how politics plays its game on everything. And I think that's kind of what kind of steered him towards that. But yeah, you're right. I think he does an awesome job. And I love the fact that he's pretty real all the time. I mean, he doesn't do the whole, I'm a politician, I can't really answer any questions.
Exactly.
Type of thing. And, I'm looking forward to having him on the show. I mean, I'm gonna try not to get him in any trouble. So
no, do get him in trouble. He's one of those guys that he'll just call you on your BS.
Yeah, right off the bat,
and it's smooth. Like he doesn't yell at you.
No.
He doesn't downgrade you. He's like, that's stupid.
Are you serious?
Are you serious
Explain
right now?
That.
Yeah.
Explain that again. Yeah.
No, for
Did you hear
sure.
what you just said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a super smart guy. So
Yes,
I mean,
he is.
his wheels are always turning, and So it'll be good. I think it'll be fun.
Oh, I think so. You'll have a good time with them.
So you do a lot with Mark and Lydia out there at Looking Glass.
Oh yeah.
How'd you originally get involved with those guys?
So
Looking Glass Brewery, by the way. I
Yeah.
said Looking Glass, but
so my dad was diagnosed with cancer. I went through a process of losing my father and going into C4AC and doing Cruise for a Cause. And Mark was my first sponsor. They had just opened their doors in 2016, and we had just started putting on car shows and stuff like that. We wanted to make an impact in our community for awareness, of course, for cancer. At the time, we were helping Camp Millennium with funds, is who we chose to help, because a lot of people don't know about Camp Millennium and how it helps kids in our own community. They would have to go to Salem and find out about this program that's right here in Elkton, which kind of blew me away, you know. But at the same time, I met Mark and Lydia. They were very gracious. At the time, they only owned a little portion of the building. I think he owned the whole building, but he wasn't going to evict anybody or make anybody move out. He was just going to focus on his little portion of that building.
yeah, that radio station was in there forever.
Radio. It was a church radio station. That was there. There was I think there was a donut shop there, and I think there was like a hair salon. Yeah. And at the same time, I don't think they had built O'Reilly's yet. I don't think it was there quite yet. And Mark and Lydia signed up for the Toyota. They got on the Warrior Toyota right away. And at the time, the Toyota wasn't wrapped or anything like that. It was still painted white. But they jumped on board with us and just kind of grew from there. They didn't have anybody doing their food trucks or helping promote
Well, they didn't
them.
even have it opened as a brewery yet.
No, I don't think
Because
so.
I remember
He was still brewing out of his garage.
after I took
At the
over
house.
here,
Yeah.
right after I took over here, we did the Sportsman Show.
Yep.
And
At
that
the
was the
fairgrounds,
first time, at the fairgrounds. And that was the first time Mark had ever set up a booth.
Yep.
And
I
I had tried their beer, and I told him, you know, their beer was great. And and he's like, well, we're getting ready to open up a place in Winston. Right now, we just are brewing in Looking Glass, but we don't really have a place, you know, to sell yet.
Yeah.
And I think at the time you had to like contact them, and you could buy some beer from them. And,
Yeah, you
The
did.
next event was the actual brew fest at the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
and the
he
brew-
won an award there.
Yeah.
That's kind of what ignited the fire a little
dude,
bit.
that fucking Brewfest pissed me off. But yeah, we won't get started on that.
Anyway,
and meeting them, you know, it's like when I met them in 2016, they didn't have any. They had a food truck. They had and the problem is that, well, it wasn't a problem. They're very social. It's a very active social scene, and they had people that were engaging on different levels, and they wanted to have like potlucks and stuff like that. And for them, they have to have food all the time. As a brewery, they have to serve food all the time. And so they'd have a food truck, and the food truck would call in, or they wouldn't show up. They'd have one a week. I think they were only open like 3 or 4 days a week at the time. Wednesday to Saturday, I believe, or something like that. And so I told Mark, I said, hey, in trade of doing this, of being my sponsor, this is what I offer you. You know, in sponsorship, I offer you marketing. You know, I do some marketing and stuff for you on social media. I talk about you guys. I do these things. If you want, I'll help you with the food trucks. You know, if you want me to help you do that. So Mark signed, and this was the deal: free beer for helping them with the food trucks and doing a little bit of marketing, right? Well, I love beer,
no brainer.
and Mark's beer is very, very good. So it was easy to. I used to drink Busch Light. I don't anymore.
Never again, right?
No, never.
Yeah.
Well, there's been times I've had to like cheat a little bit because
When
they don't
you're
sell
out of
LB
town.
everywhere. But eventually they'll sell
You're
LB
out of
everywhere.
town.
All right. Well, he's already in Winchester Bay, so he's growing. But he continued to sponsor us, and our relationship continued to grow, becoming fast friends. There was a need for music there. There was a need for the food, of course, to be there, events to happen there. We designed hot rods, handlebars, and 4x4s exclusively for them, and which turned out to be a great car show that happens during Graffiti Week. And it's always a good show to be a part of, because a lot of people don't go to the show and shine, or they don't go to the cruise. You know, there's a lot of people that don't really like that niche, but they're still a part of the car scene. But at the same time, Winston has their own cruise night, and they like to stay close to home. So it was a win-win to do the show. but it just kept growing from there. And, and even like with you came on board in 2017, became a fast sponsor for us as well. And it was just one of those things that just kept growing as a relationship.
And we partnered up with Looking Glass Brewery too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've done some classes out there.
Yeah. And you should do some more. I mean, we're always looking for more classes. We just got to make sure it's not during a car show.
Yeah.
Because that was loud last. But they kind of blew up. I started doing a lot of social media for them and stuff like that. Their product is such a great product. It made it very easy to sell. A lot of people enjoy their beer and seek it out, which made it nice. And so now they do all kinds of stuff. Now they have all kinds of events. They have cornhole going on. They have music all the time. They have a rotation of food trucks constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, you manage that, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Well, the cool thing is I've seen a lot of first starts through Mark and Lydia. If you talk about entrepreneurship and you think about entrepreneurship in our community, I've watched them businesses literally start their first day there and blossom into something that I'm not saying they wouldn't have become.
Yeah, but that was definitely a stepping stone.
It was definitely a stepping stone. And to see it, like a lot of these trucks, not that it's bad or good, they've just become so busy that they're doing so many other events that they're not at the brewery anymore.
Sure.
But to see how well they did, and then when the event season's over, hey, Brett, can we get on the schedule?
Yeah, can I come back over? Yeah.
Right? That's one of the cool things about this community, I think, is so many. I mean, there's a lot of entrepreneurship in this area, and there's not a huge attitude of competition. I mean, everybody's trying to help everybody else out.
Right.
I mean, as long as you're not an asshole,
right?
There's other businesses that are totally willing to help you get going and to support you when you need support. And I don't think I'm obviously I don't live in another community, so I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but I'd like to think that it's a little bit more prevalent here than it is other places.
It's very unique here. I've been everywhere. Man, yeah. I've lived in California, Wisconsin. I've lived in Florida, Texas. I've been everywhere. And I'm not saying those are bad places by any means. I'm sure they have their own network of things that they do. But I know coming home to Douglas County, it's different here. It hits different because you get to see people like us that wrecked our lives and turn around and changed them, strive and thrive for more.
Yeah,
right? And there's always somebody trying to lift you up and build you up. And not to go back to Mark and Lydia, but that's who they are.
Yeah,
they're constantly lifting people up, and they never shut the door on anybody. They respect everybody for their own opinions and the things that they're doing in their life. But at the same time, they don't. Mark's a very straightforward. Lydia's very, very straightforward person. If you're not going to clean house, you better move out of the way because she'll let you know right away.
I've noticed she's all business.
This is the way we're doing it.
Right. Well, and we do these little getaways. Like we're doing one December 1st. We're going to go on a little adult trip, and do some gambling and stuff like that and have a good time. But they do that every year. We go and do something together, and you see them cut loose and take the shirt strings down just a little bit and have fun. Man, yeah. Mark's always having fun. Lydia's a little bit more serious when it needs to be serious.
Yeah.
But Mark, man, don't. If I can ask you guys all one favor, don't talk to Mark about booking bands or booking your food truck when Mark's drinking beer because
he's going to agree.
He's going to agree.
Okay.
But he's not going to remember that
he's an okay guy, right?
He's a great guy.
Yeah. You might think you're going to be there, but you're not going to be there.
Right. Well, and Mark, and not to be too personal, but Mark faces his own challenges, and right now he's facing a lot of challenges. The price inflection of everything that they do to make their product is crazy. To watch the products that they buy go from a certain amount of money to more than double in price.
What they were originally. Yeah,
it blows my mind. And he raises his beer price to $1.
Yeah, he has no control over it.
Here's somebody complain about $1. I'm looking at him like, you know what it cost him just to make that beer?
Right.
But he doesn't care. He cares that you're drinking one of his beers. That's all he cares about.
God, his beer's good, dude.
Oh, God.
He does a good job.
Yeah. I love the Reds.
Yeah. One of these times I would just bring the kegerator down here. You can have like your own party and I can just bring the beer. Because I can't drink all the beer he gives me. He gives me a lot of beer.
No, it's
No, I earned that beer. He don't
Carlos,
give it to me.
are you listening?
Yeah.
Are you listening,
Yeah.
Carlos?
Private parties, always.
What?
I tell my friends they're getting
What?
married. I said, man, all you gotta do is invite me to your wedding. You're gonna have beer. And none of them invite me. I don't know why they don't invite me. It's like they want my kegerator, but not me.
I've been playing with the idea of getting one of those little kegerator fridges because my wife drinks lots of beer, and that would be great, dude. Then I'd just have Looking Glass Brewery beer on tap at my house.
Well, so like this
We're
weekend,
at the store.
Andy Nelson Jr. is racing out at the track this week. Cody Ramsey from Northwest Window Film is racing out the track this week. So I sponsor their cars, and part of my sponsorship is I bring my kegerator to the pit for them. That's the only way I can get Looking Glass Brewery beer at the Speedway, which blows my mind.
It's just
I think
insane, huh?
Yeah, you're the Speedway.
It's
You got all these breweries right here in town. Let's support our local breweries, right?
Let's do
and that's not. I don't want to talk bad about the Speedway.
No, but it's
just
political
saying,
dumb shit.
We can influence the businesses of our community by using the businesses that put people in front of them, right?
Right.
And at the Speedway, if you're there drinking a Coors Light, by all means, I mean you're drinking a Coors right now, but
it's not a light.
It's not the same thing. It's like if you want the community to make money, then you support the community.
Yeah.
And you do it. If you're going to go ask people for sponsorship money, you support the community. And those guys are doing a phenomenal job out there at the track. It has literally grown immensely since they turned it into the dirt track. It's changed into a completely different thing. Which back in the day it was originally a dirt track. Which is awesome that they brought that
when we were kids.
There was a lot of people mad about it, but I think it's worked out good.
They weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
The Hornets can still race.
Remember when we were kids? You couldn't fucking get another person in the grandstands.
Not at all. Well, and I've seen a handful of races like this year that were like that, and I see it coming.
It was
back.
Every fucking weekend. It was
every weekend. When my wife's brother Mike raced and my brother Richie was racing in the day, watching those guys with Singer's kid out there racing.
It's like, what happened? Yeah. What's different? You're smart people. Figure out what's different.
The rules.
There you go.
Rules are what happened.
There you go.
They changed so much stuff. They made it so unaffordable for the person that was building their car in their garage to race.
It's not a hobby anymore.
They couldn't do it. And the local scene, I don't want to say the local scene died, but it went away because they had to go to other tracks. So they went to Cottage Grove to race because they could afford it.
Try to make it professional. Yeah. And all this shit like that.
Right. Well, how do you make professional drivers? You put them on the crappiest track around and let them drive.
Let them learn.
Right. That's right. They used to have a manure pit on, was that turn 2?
Yeah.
Manure pit right there. And I remember one year my brother missed the track, went down to the manure pit, and he jumped out of it back onto the track. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. I was like, what the hell? They must have dug the pit out.
That's where all the shit from the fucking horse barns went.
Straight up Dukes of Hazzard shit.
It was.
You heard the fucking music.
Yeah. But I don't think in our community that I don't think we're doing anything wrong. I think we're just missing the mark.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of influence around here that
it goes back to the phrase, we could do more.
Right. Yeah. Well, like we were talking about earlier, like I said, playing baseball or football or something and you win the championship. And there's 15, 20 kids in the back of a truck and they're screaming, "We are number one." Yeah, that was Douglas County. Yeah. That was every school in Douglas County.
Not anymore.
Kids strive for something more. Their dads were their coaches. Mm-hmm. They were teaching them how to be not just humble, but be competitive and show sportsmanship at the same time. It was a hard thing to teach, but once you learn it and master it, you can almost do anything you want to do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's freaking cool. And, but that was just something I had observed. I think a lot of businesses, especially a lot of the small businesses, they really help other small businesses. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like you do something for yourself and then, you might as well help everybody else out.
Right.
Yeah. But I've noticed a lot and kind of I've changed a little bit. You were talking about supporting small businesses or whatever. Because I try and do so many different things in the community. I get a ton of donation requests. I get a ton of sponsorship. I mean, all the time, to the point where I was telling my buddy the other day, the last 2 weeks, I got more people asking for money than giving me money.
Yeah.
And so I've started trying to, the people that support my business have a way better chance of me supporting their,
Amen to that.
whatever they're asking for. Just because, for one, I can't afford it. I can't afford to help everybody. And I hate saying no to people. If I could afford to help everybody, I would, but I just can't do it. And, but for number two, I mean, I have to take care of the people that are helping take care of me.
Right.
You know?
Well, like you brought up something earlier about the groups, one of the groups that you're a part of. I've had several of them come to my business, and for me, before I had this, today is like the second day I've been away from my business and let my employees work without me. Right?
Yeah,
it's like
tough.
The
It's
building
scary.
doesn't function without me.
The fucking trust level.
And so when I have people come to my business say, hey, if you give up this Tuesday and you give me this much money and come and be a part of this group, you're going to get this much money back. And I'm
I
like,
think so.
hey, why don't you come to my business and spend some money and
Yeah.
show me that you're going to spend some money here, and then I'll become a part of your group. And it's not because I think what they're doing is wrong or bad. I'm just not in that financial place where I can take a time away from my job, trust somebody to do my job,
It's a natural,
and do quality.
a natural,
Plus, give up 2 hours of my
reflex
time.
or whatever to protect your, shit.
Right.
And
But I want to do it. I want to do it because I
Yeah.
want the networking and I want more people. But at the same time, I look at it as like either I'm missing something or they're missing something, right? There's a way to influence. There's a way to influence everybody to strive for more and be more. And being a part of those groups, I see the necessity of it. Like you guys, you have a guy that does Facebook and commercial networking. You have a person that knows insurance. You have a person that you have all these other business aspects involved in the group that can help you strive even and do more. But it's like, man, if I break another $100 out, is that going to be my $100 that feeds my family?
or is that going to...
Or, and I got to the point, like I said, I don't care about money. It's just making that conscious choice. Can I be away from my business and trust my employees to do it?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I've realized over my time doing stuff that you have to be doing some kind of networking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's imperative to your business. Well, unless you got some kind of business that just, it's everybody's coming to you.
They all
no matter
need
what.
it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not a lot of people that have a business like that.
No.
So, but I mean, you have to do some kind of networking. How you do it is up to you, but you have to be out there, and the more that you do, I think it shows more with, you get a lot more people talking about you. And who's talking about you is just as important as,
That's
as everything else. I mean, you got, if you've got other businesses talking about you, then that's freaking awesome.
Right.
Versus some kid that's
the customer.
that talked to you one time at a show, that type of thing.
I met this guy.
So but
It is way different.
Yeah.
But see, and not knowing that full spectrum of it, not seeing it, as a new business owner, it's like the first thing I see is the financial aspect.
Absolutely.
It's like, well, if I give up a Tuesday every week for 12 months, that's a lot of money for me.
Absolutely.
That means I have to pay somebody. But now that I move away from that, now that I'm not worried about the money aspect so much anymore, it's like, oh, this could have helped me bridge this gap or bridge this gap. The things I fall short of, somebody else is going to be very good at.
I got to pause for Mike. You guys got a small
You had to
bladder.
get that in.
Okay. Mike's back.
I am.
I'm the only one that had to pause yet.
Hello, hello.
Whatever, dude.
Just saying.
You're like a fucking camel.
Camel.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
put it in.
You must have dehydrated yourself all day so that you
All
had
the
He
time.
did.
All I drink is tea.
Just washing cars, man.
Yeah.
Just washing cars.
Oh my god! I watched the freaking videos, man. They do way more than wash cars.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we do. Well, in Douglas County, it's funny because I have not seen as much dog hair in my life.
Oh my god, dude!
Dog.
Everybody in Douglas County has a dog.
Fucking dog.
I have dogs, but they don't shed.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have dogs with hair, not
Yeah.
fur.
How does that work?
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen it all.
Oh god!
My favorite part is when people try to conceal stuff in their car. It's like, you know, we're cleaning your car, right?
Yeah.
So I had a customer. This is funny. So I had a customer. They wanted a detail done, right? And it was a lady. And
She forgot her meth stash or what?
she forgot some stuff. She wanted me to clean her car, right? And at the time, I was very against cleaning people's trunks because it's a locked space. It's just like your glove box or your center console. If you can lock it, I'm not gonna open it, right? You might keep some personal stuff in there. So we never had the discussion about if I cleaned trunks or not, right? And she took off, did her thing for the day. We cleaned her car, turned out phenomenal. She comes back and her and her husband leave, right? And she's like, well, you didn't clean out the trunk. I was like, okay, we'll bring it back, I guess, and I'll clean out your trunk. You know, she came back and I explained to her why I didn't clean out trunks because people tend to keep stuff there that people don't want to see. You know, if it's a cargo area, it's different than a trunk because it's locked. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. You know, so I cleaned her trunk out, right? Because by this time her husband's mad at me. He didn't like the idea that
I paid for this.
Right, that's exactly. I paid you so much.
I would think the same way.
Dude, I cleaned out her trunk and I found some stuff, right?
Yeah. You're like, here you go, fucker.
So I literally put it right back where it went, you know, because I didn't want them to think that I was like some kind of
rummaging
perv or something like that. I was going to put it in a bag and just leave it there in the bag like we do.
Passenger seat, yeah.
Man, I left it there and I knew her husband from school. And him and I didn't get along anyways. So I thought it was weird that he was getting a detail there. But anyways, they used to say it was one of those little Kaggle sacks, right? And it was a silicone.
Jesus Christ.
And she had it hidden underneath her mat. She had one of those rubber mats in the back of her trunk. So I literally put it right back where it went.
There you go.
And I know they know I found it because they never came back. They never called us again.
Like, oh,
it
shit.
Was like, I'd never seen nothing like it. And I was just like going, and I told, matter of fact, I think Dominic started working just a short time after that. And I told him this one, I go, this is why I don't clean out trunks.
Yeah. You never know what you're going to find.
But now we clean out trunks. You know, I just said, well, I guess
this is where the husband.
You say, okay, you've gotten everything out of the vehicle that you don't want anyone to see, correct?
You'd be surprised how many people don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
They leave that
Well,
stuff
I
in
think
there.
people have stuff in their vehicle. They have no. My son.
They forget about it.
My son was just, he was cleaning his truck out recently. And he called us up because he's all excited because he found like $300 worth of fucking gift cards that he had gotten during Christmas that he forgot
Oh, dang.
all about. He's like, dude, I went out and bought myself a new pair of shoes and like 3 shirts and a pair of pants. And
and we find it all the time. Like we find money in the car and stuff like that. And the boys, it's funny because you get to see their honesty.
yeah.
Right. If it's $5, some people put that $5 bill in their pocket and they don't, you know, hey, what do I do with this? Well, put it in their bag, you know, and they do the change. They put it in their bag. Now, if it goes up in the vacuum or something like that, I'm not going to make them go through and pick it out.
Right.
So whatever change we get in the vacuum, I have a sifter. They have to sift all the dirt out, right? My wife literally cleans all the money, and then we take that money and we buy Hot Wheels with it. And so every year during Christmas time, we do Hot Rods and Hot Wheels, and we do it at our shop. It's a cool drag race thing that we do for Hot Wheels. And so we buy a bunch of Hot Wheels and we give like Toys for Tots, the toy run and stuff like that. We give them buckets of Hot Wheels and stuff like that. So whatever money we find in our vacuums always goes to a good cause as well. Because I don't know whose car it came from. Sometimes we don't clean the vacuum for 2 or 3 weeks, right? And it'd be full of dirt.
Yeah, and there would be no way.
There's no way. And it's funny because even the loose change, you know, that they get in the vacuum, they're like, hey, what should I do with this? Don't worry about it, man. Just put it in that bucket over there. You know, I think last year we had like $147 and change or something out of the vacuums. And we bought a ton of Hot Wheels with it. And I think it's so funny because we get people, they know about Hot Rods and Hot Wheels. And so they donate they'll come down and give us tons we get Hot Wheels all the time. We got boxes of them. We can't give them away quick enough for the events and stuff because the buckets, I think, only hold about 200 Hot Wheels a bucket. And so we give like toys for the toy run. We gave like 5 buckets to them one year. I can't remember the other Toys for Tots. It's Toys for Tots and the toy run. They're 2 different things, I think. But we gave buckets to the other program as well. And then we gave buckets to the fire department at the Winston Fire Department. And we did a 4x4 show at the brewery and donated all the toys to them as well. And it was funny because we get people that see on social media, they see all the Hot Wheels on my wall and they're like, oh, we thought you gave those Hot Wheels away. And I'm like, well, if you look at the wall, it's ever changing.
Yeah.
Right. It's never the same Hot Wheels. Now there's some Hot Wheels that are up there that are money, that are specific Hot Wheels that were given to us to hang on the wall just for that purpose. But all the Hot Wheels always change. And I get kids that come to the shop all the time. Hey, it's funny because they're like 4, 5, 6 years. Bet. Can I have some Hot Wheels? I'm not going to say no. And I give them Hot Wheels, you know. I mean, they have nowhere else to go. Nobody else like interact them in a positive manner that way. And so, yeah, I'm going to give them some Hot Wheels.
Nice.
But we do it all the time. And it's funny how it's such a, when we started doing it because there was a program here in town that deals with foster kids. And the foster kids are on a 3-day service. So they're only in a home from 3 to 5 days. And then they have to pack up all their stuff in their backpack and go to, it's another sad thing. You know, they have to pack up, go to another home. So all their stuff has to fit in their backpack. And so the idea came from that is like, how much stuff can we put in their backpack that they can enjoy, like a toy and stuff like that. And so now we get dolls. I'm not a doll guy, but whatever. They think of girls. So they give us dolls. And it's funny because they give us these dolls and I say, hey girls, what do you want? Oh, they want the Hot Wheels. They literally pick the Hot Wheels, right? So it's funny, but it's cool because people give stuff, and I like that they give stuff. But last year was the first year that we were able to give as much as we did to the fire department, you know, and also have the brewery involved, and we did a toy drive. Virgil's group was one of those people that were a part of that donation drive, and it was crazy. Like in one day, we filled up like 4 or 5 tall boxes of toys. It was just, it blew my mind. I thought we were going to get like 50 or 60 toys.
No.
And it was crazy. It was just.
Yeah, we do.
It's pretty badass.
We do a toy drive with South Umpqua, Myrtle Creek area. Mm-hmm. And then we also do Rudolph Run.
That's what it was. Yeah. Rudolph Run.
And we do them both. And, you know, we don't get very many donations, honestly.
No.
But all the proceeds from my raffle that month, in November, I use all that money to buy toys. Mm-hmm. So I'll fill up 2 or 3 barrels, 55-gallon drums full of toys.
What a blessing.
But yeah, anytime you got extra stuff like that, you want to bring it in, dude. We'll do it again.
Most definitely.
It'll go to one of those two.
So Thunder's Truck Barbecue.
I love that.
Jerry Green gave me, I had
best
a hard time
jalapeno poppers ever.
Yeah, I had a hard time parting with all the cars he brought me, right? He brought me, and David and I put them all out on tables because we didn't even know what we had. We wanted to see what it was.
You were checking.
Right? This guy, whoever collected these cars, collected every chrome edition that there was for Hot Wheels, right? So there was like 3 or 4 boxes of these Hot Wheels, and so I strung them all out, and I was like going, oh, man, I can't give these away. Holy shit,
yeah.
There's no way I can give this car away. This is way too much money. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if I sold the cars,
dollar amount.
I can get the money and I can give the money to somebody else. It'd be more money. And David goes, hey, Brett, some kid would never get to play with the car that expensive or even know what it was worth.
They would never know.
Man, that box is empty now.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened to all those Hot Wheels? And it happens so fast because, you know, one kid comes in, maybe by himself, he gets like 4 or 5 Hot Wheels. You know, and we just let them randomly pick them out. So then we got to fill up the wall again.
one of my painters on nights, Mark, he's really good friends down here with Secondhand Resale. Mm-hmm. They're like pretty good friends with each other, and they help each other out. And he's constantly bringing David fucking Hot Wheels. It's like, hey, we opened a container. Look what we found. Here you go. And pretty neat shit that, you know, they find, and then to know that it goes.
We go to yard sales too. Like there was one right there by North River, that trailer right there at the beginning of the road.
Sure.
So the guy had like having a yard sale, and he had like 4 or 5 boxes of Hot Wheels out there. He goes, I'll take $200 for all of them. I'm like, I'll buy them. Right. And all we do is turn around and give them away. But it's so funny. People's idea of something, like if they see this on the wall, they're like, oh, what are you doing? Those have been there forever. They don't know because they're not engaged enough to understand.
But, you know, it's just help them understand, I guess, however you do, that it goes to the fucking good cause. And it's not.
Well, and I'm hoping by now people
like-
just know. They
you're
know
like,
when they
"Look here,
interact with
dickhead."
me, I'm trying to help somebody. There is nothing in my life that I don't have unless somebody else helped me with it.
Well, I think the people that matter, you
Right,
know,
right.
the people that don't are just haters, and they're
Yeah.
going to hate
Right.
either way.
They're gonna bitch
Right.
about something.
Yeah.
Well, they always do, yeah.
There's people that I'm pretty sure there's people that just look for things to try and criticize and try and be negative on, and they're not. You just can't. You can't waste your time on those people.
Right.
No.
Well, and that comes back to like to the idea of like people say don't live in the past, right? Don't
You
But-
try not to.
right. But
It's-
a lot of people that are against you
they get
like to
fucking
bring
caught
up your
up in
past.
it. Yeah.
right? They're not bringing up the present. They just, oh man, in 1986, that guy.
Yeah.
It's like
And there are always people that you've had a beef with since
Right,
you were in
right.
fucking
No,
junior high.
I'm straight fucking 100% guilty of that because,
Yeah.
you know, as a person that, you know, you fall into the, I don't want any part of that anymore. They don't see the fucking change.
Mhm.
They don't see the progress that a person
Right.
has made
right,
because they're like, just stand off. I don't want to deal with it.
right.
And it's easy to do, but that's human nature.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. No, I used to be the worst, dude. I mean, I was a first impression is the only impression,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or-
and
The whole, yeah.
for years, there's so many people I didn't ever give another chance to, just because I would judge you off the first 5 seconds of our meeting,
But then,
and that's who you are for the rest of your life.
but then what? You know, you're like 40 fucking years later, you know, you're like, oh shit, fuck. You are different.
Yeah.
You're not the same. And
Well, I will say
it's hard.
a good percentage of those people are still pieces of shit.
So you weren't wrong in
so-
your opinion.
So my first
Yeah.
impression is
It's 50-50.
no,
goddammit.
it's like 80-20, dude. I'm like
No.
80% right, 90% of the time.
I don't know. I guess it's just the fucked up part of humans is it's easy to wash your hands of a situation
Yeah.
and not fucking interact with it anymore. And when in all reality, you should fucking react
Right.
and you should be, you know, you don't look behind you.
Right.
You know, you're going forward.
Right.
Fuck what's behind you.
Right. Well, you don't have time for it, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
as much as you see,
unfortunately, yeah.
right. Well, and like all of our kids are getting older and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and we have to adapt to that and what influences that. I remember Kenny Eckley's dad, right? Back in the day, I was just a young punk. Me and Kenny Eckley running around together, and his dad did not like me, and he did not like me because of my dad.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever their thing
It's
was,
nothing because of
right?
you.
It had nothing to do with me. I was,
Yeah.
right? But
God, Mike's kids are screwed.
Uh, I keep telling them, don't tell people who your dad is. I keep telling them that all the time. No, it's fucked up. You know, it's not like I say. I guess not human nature to fucking look that way, and it should be, but it's not.
Well, and I think, you know, for me, unfortunately, like I had to get locked up. You know, I had to go to prison to learn.
What happened with all that? I mean,
Well,
I know I know that you went to prison, but I don't know what for. Or
so
anything.
I was doing really bad. You know, like my mom, I was already doing bad before she had passed away, but when she passed away, it gave me an excuse to dive deeper into my addiction.
Yeah.
It gave me the opportunity to not be accountable or responsible because every judge in town knew my mom. Every cop knew my mom. My grandfather was the first Tri-County sheriff in Douglas Lane in Coos County.
It's the
He
whole
was the last sheriff to ride the
self-medication.
Oregon Trail, you know, for their bicentennial. Big deal. And so I had a cakewalk. Like I never really got into trouble. Like it was like they would pull me over and say, "Hey, Brett, you can't be drinking and driving.
Go home.
Let's follow you home."
Yeah.
For your, you know, that kind of thing. So I had no accountability and I had no respect for authority. And so I went through a process of being in and out of the system. And when my mom died, it's when I realized that I was the only person that could be accountable
For your soul.
myself.
Yeah.
There's nobody else there to bail me
God
out.
damn it.
I wasn't getting out of jail anymore when they arrested me. And I got in trouble. The moron part of this was I was literally going to school to be a CDAC, and I wanted to do drug and alcohol counseling because I'd been in and out of treatment this time, probably 6-7 times. And I thought, oh, I'm going to take all this knowledge and I'm super clean and sober. And I did the worst thing, man. I went to college. I was doing really well in school. And then I moved in with a person because I needed a place to live in the community I was in. I thought, oh, I'll just stay here for a little bit and do my thing, and then I'll move out. And he was probably one of the biggest drug dealers around to live with, and he was already under investigation. It just put me in the spotlight. And I started drinking and using again while I was going to school to be a CDAC.
It was self-research, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Fuckers.
I had one of those like blackout moments to where I had some sense of clarity and I wanted to go home. My dad and I never spoke to each other in, almost a decade. And I was having a real hard time. I was like, hey, Dad, I don't remember the phone conversation. I called him up. I was drunk. I was like, Dad, I really want to come home. He's like, pack up your stuff and come home.
Do it then.
And so I jumped in my car, packed up all my stuff. At least to say it was 3:00 in the morning. And I'm driving through Newport, Oregon. And there's a cop sitting there, and I didn't do anything wrong. It was just way late at night, so he started following me.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh,"
and then you start doing shit wrong. Yeah.
So I took him on a high-speed chase. At least to say, I think there was like 10 or 15 cops chasing me. Roads that they didn't know about because I knew about them because our family, my stepdad at the time was not at the time, but way back in the day was a trapper, so I knew all these back logging roads and stuff. So I was ditching them all over the place, and they were trying to find me. And finally, I wrecked my car. At that time, the crazy thing was even after everything I had done, I wasn't facing prison time, but at the same time, they had just put into law, just like the minimal drug law.
Yeah.
Was that 2-1 or 210? I can't remember which law they just passed where people can have so much drugs in their pocket. They just passed this law where if you did these certain things, you looked at prison time.
You meet the criteria.
Yeah. So I met the criteria. Yeah. I was in county lockup for 90 days. I received my prison sentence. And after that 90 days, they took the law away because it wasn't working. Well, I got prison time while everybody else got 90 days. Sure. But it was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Blessing.
Like prison's not scary. I don't know. I was overwhelmed by it. I had a lot of fear going in because you just don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Different fucking world.
When I got there, it was like a big boy day camp. Yeah. Like I had no person to person crime. So I got work release. So I wasn't in prison for 10, 15 hours a day because we were doing road work. And it wasn't like the cheesy pick up the trash road work. It was like using power tools, cutting down trees and stuff, putting in guardrails. It was like real work. And at the time, that kind of work was good money in prison because I made the most that you could make in prison. And I was rich. So I was prison rich. Yeah. I had Nikes in prison, right?
What was it? Last episode, you had the fucking candy corns?
Oh, yeah.
But
the candy corns were you, dude.
Never mind.
That was the rude awakening for me, because I had nobody to bail me out. Mike. And while I was in prison, my grandmother, again, back to the Oregon Trail, and they rode the Oregon Trail. They were literally a part of the last documented process of the Plains Indians. But the sheriff that was the lead person in our prison that we were at came to me, said, "Hey, Brad, I need you to come to my office. I need you to talk to you a little bit." And my grandmother had just gotten in a car wreck down in Tri-City, Oregon, and he let my cousin Jerry from Thunderstruck call the prison, and they don't let this stuff happen.
That's why you were incarcerated. Yeah,
while I was incarcerated, and let me have this conversation with him. He told me my grandmother had died from this car accident.
Some bitch.
So it was very devastating to me, but it was an eye opener. You know, it's like as soon as I got out, what I wanted to do was make people know that this wasn't me anymore. And I still had some defective thinking. When I first got out. In prison, when you go into prison,
of course
you have to click up. You have to be a part of a gang. You have to be a part of whatever. If you're white or black or native or any, you have to be a part of that associated group. And unfortunately for me, I was a white native, so it was very confusing on who I had to click up with. The guys from Grants Pass were all like swastika'd up and stuff like that.
They had paperwork that you had to sign and shit.
Right. Well, Thank God I had my little native card, right?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So I rode with the natives the whole time, which was, I'm not going to say it was an easy ride.
No.
You had to be ready to fight all the time.
A rough
And
situation.
I saw like 2 fights the whole time I was down. It was like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
No.
But the accountability was the huge part, was learning to be accountable for your words.
Yeah.
Because in prison, you can't lie about anything.
No.
People know it.
They'll
Sense
eat you
it.
up.
They know it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a fight right away. You know, their disrespect. You can't be disrespectful. You can't call people certain names, or it's a fist fight. And if you don't fist fight, somebody else is going to beat you up because you didn't get a fist fight because of it.
Yeah.
And
So you're fucked either way. Yeah.
So you had to learn to be straight and narrow. You had to learn how to hold yourself and poise yourself in the right way to address people.
Ain't no
and
joke.
That was a hard way to do things.
Ain't no
Really is.
joke at all.
But it taught me a very valuable lesson to be accountable. You know, and when I started C4AC, the biggest thing about it was to hold myself accountable in front of my community. I wanted people to see that I had changed. I wanted them to see that I had changed for the better, you know, and it was unfortunate that some people didn't see that. But you can't make everybody happy. You're not going to show everybody everything that you need to show them. You can just continue to do what you need to strive for more and to strive for better, you know, and that's like with you and Mark and my sponsors, all knowing my history and knowing my life and stuff like that, and still be my sponsors, how rewarding that is, because I literally have people that back me. You know, it's like I have people that say, hey, we're willing to be a part of this because we know the good work that comes from it, you know, instead of just guessing about it. I think that was a huge, huge thing for me. But when my mom died, it really tilted the scales for me.
It was an eye-opening moment.
Yeah, very, very big excuse for me. Poor Brett, poor me. You know,
it's kind of weird how life does that.
Yeah.
How long were you in?
2 years.
2 years?
I had a 10-year sentence, so I was on a downward departure, which means when I got out, if I reoffended in any way, I went right back and served my sentence. I was very fortunate that Douglas County, or the Douglas County, DOJ, the Oregon prison system, adopted a program called the Phoenix program, which I wholeheartedly believe in now. It's a great reform program. It's a cognitive rethinking program. You have to go into a dormitory. You're in there with 50 other guys, and you live in one dorm with each other. You have to follow the same rules. You have to hold each other accountable. Like if you're cussing, I'm going to pull you up out of care and concern because you're cussing too much, you know, and you have to write a paper on it or whatever it is. You have to write a reform to it, which was pretty amazing. But that was probably when I saw the most fist fights. People that weren't willing to
adjust,
be held accountable by your peers, right? That's what it was, is as a peer community holding each other accountable to a higher standard, right? But we were still like taking donuts and stuff from the canteen and stuff like that. We were still betting on races for candy bars. I mean, there's still criminal thinking involved,
100%,
which was funny because it's like, I literally got one write-up the whole entire time I was in prison. It was because I had too many books in my locker. And I counted every book I read. I read so many different books. I read over 1,100 books while I was in prison. I probably read over a book a day, probably about a book and a half a day. And I mean big books, not little cheapy books, probably 800-900 pages. But I would read constantly, and I just tried to grow from there. Knowledge-wise on why I was doing the things I was doing. Treatment didn't help. I was in treatment 11 times. I lived in a couple halfway houses a few times.
Almost a self
right
philosophy class.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was a very, very big learning experience.
It has to be. That's
and that's why, like, I wholeheartedly, I don't believe in people just getting arrested, but I believe like our county jails can do a better job. There's an opportunity for reform there.
100%.
Yeah.
And we miss that reform. Like if you're serving under a year, a day under a year, you're serving county time. Anything over a year, you're going upstate.
Yeah.
And so these guys are in prison or they're in jail. They don't get very much sunlight because there's no going outside or nothing when you're in county jail. You might get an hour a day or whatever they do on the rooftop at Douglas County. But the opportunity to teach people to
not the fuck up.
Like every program I did reduced my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do all the programs, and I wanted to do them at an accelerated rate, and I wanted to get them done so I can get out, right?
It's like you're proving to somebody that matters, judge, whatever the fuck, that you're willing to jump through the hoops.
Yep. And if they did that more here, we'd probably see. I wouldn't say that we're going to see like everybody be reformed.
Oh yeah,
But there's a larger chance. Like when I got out, like doing the PO time, going to my parole officer and stuff like that, I would go down there and I would see friends that I grew up with in elementary school still in the system.
In the same
still
fucking
going out,
scenario.
not getting nothing because all they're serving was county time. They don't even understand what prison was like. And if they would have done it, it probably would have been a little different for them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of opportunity in Douglas County. There's a lot of opportunity in Douglas County. You know that. There's just the wealth of people here right now that will help somebody, like you said earlier, is amazing. Because before you didn't have that. It was cut and dry. Like if you screwed somebody over, if you did something wrong, you were out. Now there's a second chance. You know, and then people didn't believe in second chances before. You burnt somebody one time, you were burnt for life.
And it all depended on who you knew and all that kind of shit.
Right. That's a big thing. It's all about who you know sometimes too.
I don't agree with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it is showing that you're willing to, that you actually do want to change.
Yeah.
You actually do want to do something.
Right.
Self-accountability.
There's a lot of people that are all about, I just want another chance. I just want another chance. But you got to show me that show me that you're going to put some work in. Show me that you're trying.
100%.
You can't just come here before you even started on the journey and say that you want another chance, because that's just a waste of my time.
You got to put in the work.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work. You know, it's like for me, and a lot of people don't know this, but like for me, my license is suspended for life.
Yeah.
Like I can't reoffend. If I reoffend, I can't get my license.
Because of what? Yeah.
Right. Because of what I did. You know, I got commercial manufacturing, commercial delivery, DUI ×3. Like all this stuff happened in one night. Like I got all these charges in one night. And it was just crazy to have to live through that. And it's like, I have to go without an infraction for 10 years in order to get my license back.
To even try.
Yeah. And then when we called the attorney to talk about it, their first thing was like, well, have you drank?
Duh.
I'm like, I work at a brewery. Right? No, I don't work at a brewery. I work for a brewery.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. But that was never part of my release.
Yeah. There's a ding against you.
Right? And so
I don't drive ever.
Right.
Yeah.
My wife drives me everywhere, and bless her heart, you know. And another thing, that was another thing about Cruise for a Cause was like I had to depend on everybody to do the things I could do in a moment.
Sure.
I'd have to wait 2 or 3 days to do because I had to work on their time frame, right?
Yeah.
And to be a nonprofit, you can't work that way. You have to be able to do things on demand. You have to do them real fast.
Instant,
I just couldn't do that. It was just, I don't know. I'm ready. I'm ready to not be held accountable anymore for my actions because that was over 10 years ago. I mean,
yeah, but you know, it's like Mark, my buddy at work, you know, is dealing with life bullshit in certain people's instances, and it's like, what does a guy have to do to prove that they're fucking changed?
Yeah.
And we had a guy he's a damn good worker. He fucking busted his ass and shit. He fucked up one time. Didn't do what he was supposed to do. After, 2 years of fucking parole, back to fucking prison he went.
Well, that's what I did.
And it's like, what do you have to fucking do to prove that you're fucking... Because he didn't fucking make a phone call.
Yeah. The problem is it's all relative to whoever's the one that happens to be dealing with it at the time.
Right. It almost makes it sound like it.
Well, like
deep diving into shit, it almost makes it sound like it's all about the fucking dollars.
Oh, it is. It's so just for me to hire the attorney is like $5,000.
There you go.
Right. And that's me going to and I can't hire one of the best attorneys here from Douglas County.
No.
I have to hire one of the attorneys from Lincoln County.
Oh,
right?
yeah. The county you were arrested in.
That don't make sense to me. And all I got to do is write a letter for the judge to read and approve.
Yeah.
The DMV's already released me to get it, right? But I have to go. But the thing is like in 2017, I made the poor choice of deciding to drive, right? I had to get to work. The person that drove me every day to work, we worked on the same shift with each other for 4 years, been on the same shift. Calls in sick that day, never calls in sick. And we just had a glass wall like the morning before that said, if you don't come to work, you guys are fired, right? Yeah. They were just firing people. And so I was worried I was going to lose my job.
What the fuck do you do?
Right. So I jump in my truck, I drive down to Riddle to go to work, didn't get pulled over. But in my critical thinking was like I made it to work. Now my wife can pick me up and bring me home. But instead I chose to drive home after that. And they were doing road work on the Winston exit right there. So I had to bypass the exit, and I got off at the next exit to get into Roseburg. Man, there was a sheriff sitting right there at that exit. Pulled out right behind me, followed me all the way through Roseburg. I got on Harvard because I didn't want to turn around by J&J Market and come back, right? Because then it was for sure hit. So I went all the way around, got on Harvard, got back on the freeway, and he followed me all the way to the dump pullout. And he pulled into the dump pullout because he passed me, right? So I know he was trying to see who was driving. So he passed me, pulled off at the dump pullout, and then I pulled off at the next exit, which is that little furniture resale place right there on Old 99.
Yeah.
Pulled me over right there, and I jumped out of my truck. I was going to run. My first instinct was to run. I was going to beat feet, right?
Fuck you.
It's Heartwood Furnishings.
You're like, no, I ain't doing
I'm like
that.
going into the store. I'm like going, he goes, Parrot. And I was like, shit. So I just stopped. Very, very nice guy. He was doing his job, you know, and it was the first time in my life I never ran.
Yeah.
And so, but that reset the clock for me, right? So from 2017 to 2027, now I got to wait 2 more years to get my license back. And it's like, gosh, dang it, man.
Yeah.
But again, the recidivism rate for a person like me not to commit the same crime again was very high. Yeah. So they know that they're imposing something that's going to happen.
That's why in my eyes, my fucked up eyes, I guess, it's all about money.
Everything
100%.
Well, what I've noticed,
it doesn't matter if the person wants to change. It doesn't matter if the person does change. It's all about the fucking money.
Well, when I went to court, and the judge. So I've been in front of this judge a lot. Right. Growing up, my driving record is atrocious. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, I got probably 100.
I was right there with you. Yeah.
Right. And so this judge knew me, and my attorney and the district attorney were arguing about the fine portion of the agreement. Like they came to a court agreement, like a plea agreement. And we were like all on board with the plea agreement, right? Because it didn't say nothing about a fine. So we get into court and they start arguing about the fine. And I look at my attorney and I'm like, I'll pay the fine. Quit arguing about the fine. It was like $2,500, right? So I don't care about the fine. And as they're doing this in real time, you can hear the judge over his microphone reading my record, and he's like, "Oh, you're an A6 on the grid. That's a mandatory 10 years." And I was like, "Judge, I'm going to tell you right now, everything I do in my community is to hold me accountable and responsible for my actions. If you see fit that me going to prison is what you want to happen, then I'll go. I don't have a choice. I got to go." And my wife is literally sitting in the row right behind me. And we just had this talk with my attorney. I'm like, don't go in there causing strife because there's no good luck for Brett in front of a judge. And they always throw the book at me, right? And she's like wreaking havoc. And
shut the fuck up.
I just looked at my wife and I said, well, I don't get to say goodbye to you. I don't get to give you a hug or a kiss. They're going to put me up right now. And when I told the judge, I said, I do everything to be held accountable. I put myself in front of my community to hold me accountable. I made this decision to drive to work in the moment. I could have changed my thinking when I got there. I already got away with getting there, but I chose to drive back. That's where I should have stopped, and I didn't. And that judge, for the first time ever, he goes, okay, we're not going to send you to prison. He goes, but this is what we're going to do. And a judge, a lot of people don't know. You don't, even if you have a plea agreement, a judge doesn't have to.
No, they don't have to follow that.
Not at all.
And so he's like, check it out. You're going to do this. You're going to get 2 years of probation, and you're going to check in all the time, and you're going to do these things, and you're not going to drive again. I said, okay. And so I walked out of there, paid my $2,500 fine.
So here you are.
Yeah. Did my 2 years. I just got off of 2 years of parole. So it's easy to do the 2 years of probation, right?
Yeah, it's nothing.
But, and what I found out was how hard it is for law enforcement in our community, to hold people accountable because everybody can react differently, and
it's not up to the cop.
No, not at all.
Well, what I've figured out in my own personal journey of trying to become a better person is and this probably had a lot to do with how that judge was thinking with your whole thing is, my old self, everything was everyone else's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was
Not
out to
my
get me.
fault.
There was cops that
Yeah.
were following me,
Yeah.
and they knew who I was. And if they saw me, they were going to give me a ticket or pull me over.
Mm-hmm.
And I blamed everyone for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't take any personal accountability.
Mm-mm.
None.
Nope.
And now, I mean, even I've told this a million times, but when my wife and I got together, when we first, I mean, we were friends for a long time before we got together, but when we first got together, I told her that I had the worst luck in the world
Mm-hmm.
and that I had to work twice as hard as anyone else to get anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so she should just know that up front, that things were going to be a lot harder being with me because
Mm-hmm.
basically the world's out to get me.
Mm-hmm.
And she chose to still pick me,
Mm-hmm.
even though that is the biggest loser mindset in
Mhm.
the world.
Yep.
And, but that's who I was. And now, in my, looking into myself and changing over time, I've realized that, dude, it's all about the decisions you make for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's making those decisions for
Right.
you. Nobody's out to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's
Yeah.
none of that stuff. I mean, and when you look at life like that, it's amazing how much more opportunities you have,
Right.
how much better things work
Just
out.
how it opens up.
Lose,
Yeah.
lose the victim stance.
It's,
There is no victim.
but I mean, it
That's
took
right.
me
none.
years to figure that out.
Yeah.
The
Years.
victimhood is
Well, I'm still
yourself.
trying to figure it out. Like my wife is a godsend. I mean, by all means, she has supported me, has had my back. I mean, we have been through some crap that people just shouldn't have to go through. And if I didn't have her in my life, when my dad died and when he passed from cancer, I did this. I had the same mentality when my mom died. Oh, poor Brett. Oh,
Yeah.
poor me. Now here's another person that I don't have.
Well,
to support
I think
me.
it's human nature to go right
Yeah.
into that.
It
when
is.
Stuff happens.
It is, unfortunately.
Yeah, I started drinking excessively. I
Yeah.
was, I thought, whatever. I don't need this. My wife doesn't need this. Nobody needs me around, kind of thing. And I just took that victim stance, and she just wasn't having it. She's like, "Hey, check it out, dude. You're with me."
She's like,
now.
you need to pull
Yeah.
your fucking
Yeah.
head out of your ass.
Right,
No.
you got me, and you have a lot to live for, and you have a lot to change for, and
Yeah.
Mindy's awesome, dude. She's
oh
she's
god,
She's a godsend.
She's cool.
She's a hell of a lady.
yeah. Well, and I'm hoping that there more people understand that. Like we have our own family dynamics that are happening in real time all the time.
yeah.
Everybody
and I think
does.
that they lose the idea that Mindy is the foundation of our family, and that they should understand that and respect that even more, because I don't think that they respect that. I don't get to say that because it's not, it's not me to say for what other people need to do or not do.
Sure.
But when it comes to your own kids and your own family and stuff like that, if you don't realize what your mom does for you, or your nana does for you, or your friend does for you, you better open your eyes, because
Yeah.
that lady does a lot. And if you don't have her support,
Yeah. Look out.
you better look. Good luck.
Yeah.
A lot of people they have blinders to.
They do.
Yep.
They see their own.
Especially when it comes to family.
They
Yeah,
take
they-
it for granted.
Yeah, they see
Yeah.
they see life through their own lens.
Their own
Right.
crystal
They
fucking.
don't
yeah.
try and look at life through
Rose-colored
other
glasses,
people around
whatever
them.
you want
They
to
don't
call
see
it.
how they impact other people, or
Right.
how those people impact them.
Right.
They just see, what's right in front of them.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, I know for wholeheartedly, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for her. I know the
Mindy,
impact
yeah.
that she's had on my life.
Yeah.
Mindy is
Um,
great.
Yeah. And she can, like this business adventure, she was so worried sick about it. She's like, "Oh, you're going to quit a full-time job that has benefits and all this stuff." And I was like,
Yep.
"But if I'm not happy, what am I going to provide for you?" I'm like, we're not even spending time together because I'm gone all the time. And to take our only $1,500 we were barely scraping, and I took that $1,500 and started this business. The first 9 months, it was like barely making it,
You're like, I got that $1,500 back.
yeah, right. But now it's different. Now she wants to go to the casino. I was like, wait a minute.
It's good.
Yeah. No, it's
And then
especially when you're trying to have a business, it's important to have somebody that's
the backup,
going to back you
just
up and
just the
support
mental,
you.
the mental backup.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to have that. you got to have a cheerleader, man. And if you don't, it's already hard enough to stay out of your own head.
Right.
And if you don't have somebody to get you out of there when you get there,
look the fuck out.
I mean,
you know what happens.
You're going to fail. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, Mike and I are really good friends. And I mean,
always like on every podcast.
Well, but I mean, outside of the podcast, a good friend will tell you when you're in your own head. They'll tell you.
I'm a fucking handful.
Pull your fucking head out of your
ass. This
ass.
guy right here has been
that's how David is.
The best therapist I've had for a long time is sitting right here. So
David's probably the most relaxed, calm person I've ever met, and you can't get him riled up for anything.
And that guy's dealt with some real shit.
Oh, hell yeah!
I've seen some shit.
I watched his
I can
ex-old
tell you
lady
some
run
stories.
him over. When I met him, I literally ran out our front door because his ex ran him over in front of me. I watched him fly over the top of the car. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, but you can't falter for that.
No.
I wanted to run him over a couple times myself.
No, I had to fucking tell him, it was a eye-opening deal. I was like, Dave, you know me. I've known you for we were little kids. You're welcome at my house any fucking time, but do not bring that bitch back to my fucking house for fucking nothing.
Sure, it's the same one.
Yeah. I was like, don't do it. And, it worked out.
But even him, now he's married
Yeah.
to his ex-old sweetheart from high school.
Exactly.
And his whole life has changed.
He changed it.
Yeah. So it's funny,
If
I guess.
that motherfucker could change it.
They can either wreck it or make it better.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you could figure out things without it taking so long,
So
life would
fucking
speed so much
long.
better.
Exactly.
You got to be an old
ain't
man
fair.
before you finally pull your head out of
It's
your
not
ass.
fair at
And
all. What the
that's why I
fuck?
believe, like when you see people that are successful, like I used to ask my parents
You're
for
like, that
advice,
fucker
and
didn't
I quit
struggle.
doing it because they weren't very successful.
Sure.
And it wasn't because they never strived for it. They just didn't have it. And so then I started looking for people that had success in their life to give me advice. Like Mark at the brewery, at Looking Glass Brewery, Mark has been such a great person, a resource for me to talk to about business and stuff like that, because he's gone through those trial and errors and he's guided me. And believe it or not, there's been times like you don't see me serve beer anymore at their outside functions, right? Because I'm one of those guys that I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah.
And they can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You have to have a filter.
so it's not a big deal to me. But at the same time, I was like, oh, well, one guy came up and he was saying some stuff. And I was like, hey, check it out, dude. Kick rocks.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to fuck right off.
And Mark's like,
Fuck
hey,
right
bro, you
off
can't talk
now.
to people like that. And so now I learned a whole new way to talk to people, instead of being so direct. And it's hard not to be direct because you just want your point across. Like going to prison, not to bring it up again, but when you go to prison, if you're not direct right away, people will keep doing the same thing until they get a reaction out of you. So you have to be direct.
Look
And
here.
I don't want to waste my time. If we're going to have a conversation, I'm going to tell you what I think right there in the conversation. I'm not going to wait till next week to say, hey, that was really stupid. I'm going to tell you right now, that was stupid. Right. And my wife has a hard time with that because I have no filter. And so we'll be literally out in public and somebody will say something. I'm like, man, you are a freaking idiot, dude. You need to be blasted right in the face. She's like, you can't say that. Or she'll just walk away. I don't know you.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. You
100%.
very much have to surround yourself with people who,
To lift you up?
well, yeah, that and you want to surround yourself with people that think the same way and have the same goals and have some of what you want. I mean, you want to have a successful business. You don't hang out with freaking some meth head and that fucking lives in a cardboard box down at the corner.
Right.
You got to hang out with somebody who has a successful business and has a successful life. You got to have those people to talk to and encourage you and back you up. You can't. I tell my kids, I've been telling my kids for years, you are who you hang out with. If whether or not you do the same stuff, you are who you hang out with. If you hang out with a bunch of freaking kids that stand around their garage and fucking smoke pot all day,
Right.
every single person you meet is going to think that you're just some pothead that hangs out at this people's garage.
Yep.
You know, if whoever you hang out with, that's who everybody thinks you are.
Mm-hmm.
So, it sucks sometimes that you got to cut people out of your life, but sometimes you got to cut people out of your life. You got to freaking surround yourself with people who are going the right direction, at least.
Well, and some of those things, like when you're cutting people out of your life, you don't realize how much sooner you should have done it.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, it's hard to do.
Obviously,
well, because everything has a process to it. And when, like say you're friends with somebody for years, but they're not fulfilling their part of the friendship, and you're constantly there for them, but the battle is they're never there for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're just a handout, right? And when you come to that awakening of it, like, hey,
you're only here when you need something.
More, that's a hard thing to take. But like I was saying a minute ago, like gravitate towards people that are successful. Like if your parents are successful, you're going to take their information and run with that success because they're successful. If they're not successful, then they're not really teaching you how to be successful.
No.
They're not showing you what success looks like. And success doesn't necessarily mean you got to change your job every 5 years or anything. You can be at a job for 20. My dad worked at the mill for over 40 years. Yeah. Retired from the mill. He worked on one machine his entire life. The primary sander on the finish end down at Plant 4. He worked there his entire life. And to think that he wasn't successful, he was very successful.
Yeah.
I mean, everything Richie and I wanted, Nike shoes, bell-bottom pants, mullets, we had whatever we wanted, man.
Some of that shit you should have rethought, but whatever.
Right, the Atari came out. We were the first kids to get an Atari. It was like nobody in Riddle had an Atari. They were all at our house playing on our Atari.
All the kids are, yep.
But at the same time, it's easy to ruin success. Yeah. It's easy to take that stuff away by just making the wrong choices. Take it for granted. Think that you're getting bigger than you really are, and you're getting way above what you can do, your capabilities. Like my business, at a point there, I felt like we were growing too fast. I couldn't really keep up with the growth aspect of it, and I thought I was taking on too much. I got back into the realm of I wasn't just trying to work 40 hours a week. I was back to working 70, 80 hours a week, and I don't think that's success. Yeah. I think success is everything is equal. Work has its place. Your family time has its place. Your time has its place. Your time has to be first and foremost because you have to recondition yourself constantly to go out there and battle everything else you're trying to be successful for, and it's a hard balance to like.
Well, by that definition, I am totally not successful.
That's not true, man.
Because I work like 70 hours a week at least.
Sometimes you got to.
70, 80 hours a week.
But the dream is always not to do that much, right?
Well, that's the whole idea of having your own business, so you don't have to work so hard.
And then you always work more.
And then you immediately double what you worked before.
Well, like today. So I've been really busy.
It's
my uncle
part of the year. Yeah,
my uncle was just diagnosed with cancer, and
Jesus, I hope you take care of yourself.
I don't know. I do the same thing. I do the same things they all did, right? So he was just recently diagnosed, and for me, it wasn't like a tailspin like with my mom and stuff. I learned a lot of growing through my dad when he passed away, but this is my dad's twin brother. He's the last of my dad's family to be around. And so he's been diagnosed, and a customer literally called me to book an appointment at the same time I got the news. And they didn't call me. I take that back. They texted me. And that's why I don't like people having my cell phone number. So he texted me, and I didn't write his appointment down in the book. And so I triple booked today already. Like we had 3 cars we were already working on, and this guy shows up. I'm like, oh crap. I go, so last time I had his truck for the whole weekend. So I think that he's dropping, because it's a different vehicle. So I think he's dropping it off for the whole weekend. So I'm okay. Right. And he gets out and he's like looking around. He sees all the cars, and I'm like, oh man. I go, man, I totally forgot to write your appointment down. And I normally don't forget stuff like that. And I forgot it. And I kept telling him, I go, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He goes, Brett, relax. He says, it's okay, man. And he wasn't there to wreck my day. Yeah. And he let me have this truck for the whole weekend. But that overwhelming feeling like I was doing everything wrong, it was just like crap. Yeah. just so much on my plate, man. My mind is everywhere.
Now you just got to deal with Mindy going, why the fuck do you got to go to the shop this weekend?
Right. Well, and I tell her all the time, hey, this is our weekend, babe. We're not racing. We're not doing a car show. And
now you just got to tell her, hey, if you come help me out, we can start our weekend pretty soon.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Dom and them are working today. You guys want to work? They're like, yeah, we want to work. And they're hungry. They're hungry for money. So
oh, yeah. He loves it.
But
you're telling Mindy, would you come hold the light for me?
she came down there and worked with me one day, and she did not want to do it again.
I said, fuck
she's
this.
like, no, you're too bossy. she's like, I don't want to work for you. I was like, all right.
I can't even imagine having Sarah work for me, dude. I couldn't handle it.
I'm like, hey, but you missed that. Hey, babe, you missed that.
I'm like, babe, I can't fucking do anything. Get out of my way. I'll just do it myself.
But she does all of our books and stuff. She does all of our taxes. I mean, she does so much, and she does it without pay, right? I'm trying to find ways. I'm like, hey, babe, you should make a budget just for bookkeeping and stuff, so we can start paying. We should start acknowledging that you're doing something for the business as well, right? Well, how much do I get paid? I don't know.
I told you figure it out.
Yeah,
whatever you tell me.
You figure it out. I'll just have to work harder, right? So I don't want you to work weekends. I'm like,
so what? I put the gross right here.
Already working weekends, right? She does a good job. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, my wife does our payroll and stuff, and yeah, I would love it if she could help out more with stuff, but she does her own thing too. Mm-hmm. So,
well, and I try to get, it's like she works for Dr. Yoon. She works at Ray Aesthetics. And so I was like, hey, babe, you should just quit your job. Come work for me full time. You can watch the grandkids when you want. You can do this.
And then she tells you what, you see what she makes, and you're like, okay, never mind.
I was like, no,
stay where you're at.
I know how much
you're not worth that much. Come on now.
Babe, I was talking about my ass. Stay where you're at.
And she goes, you can't afford me.
Yeah.
She's like, you see what happens when you're drinking?
No, and she loves her job. It's like, she goes, I like what I do. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I don't want to do what you do because I like what I do.
No, that was Dr. Yoon was my last doctor that I got to see.
Yeah.
With all my bullshit that I went through. So
he's a pretty good guy.
I got to see Mindy in there like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
I still don't know what he does. I mean, I went in there because my ear rings all the time. I got that ringing in the ear thing.
Tinnitus?
Yeah, because I can't fix that. And I'm like, dude, it says right here on TikTok they got something for tinnitus.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, keep watching TikTok.
He's like, yeah, just keep watching it. It'll give you a cure one of these days.
Put the spoon up to your ear and go ding.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Get the fucking tuning forks and whack it. You'll be good.
Right on, man. Well, I guess we've talked enough.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I hope you've had fun coming and hanging out with us for the day.
I had a blast. I actually needed it because this allowed me to put a little bit more faith in the guys working down the shop without me there. I was even today, like with that guy coming in, I was like, man, I got to call Carlos, tell him I can't make his podcast. And David literally showed up. He goes, oh, you're going.
Yeah.
He goes, Mike's on his way to pick you up. You're going. He goes, you need to go. And I was like, all right, I'll do it.
That's awesome.
Well, it is.
He asked me this morning, he goes, what are you doing? I was like, well, I guess I'm going to get out of here about 11. He goes, oh, are you going to go see Carlos? I was like, yeah, I'll probably go see lunch with him. He goes,
he's all, why don't you come pick
He did. He goes, well, you can stop by and pick Fred up then.
And see how that is? That's how I got to get around. But even my own buddies like arranging an Uber for me, right?
I think it's because he didn't want to look at your ass for the day.
No. I know. He wanted to work with those boys without me there.
He's like, I'm done with you.
He goes,
get out of here.
He says, I'm way too lenient. He goes, those guys are sitting on the couch. Go tell them to get off the couch. He wanted me to get rid of the couch, but then he likes the couch.
Oh, fuck. Don't even go there.
Oh, God.
As soon as I turn my back, they're like sitting down. He's like, what are you guys doing sitting down?
I tell you something to really fuck everybody's world up is just turn your Wi-Fi off down there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'll fuck everybody's groove
up. No, I
up.
should do that. I didn't even see another great business idea.
That'll fuck them all up. They're like, what the fuck do I do now?
That's why David comes down there.
How about go to work? That's what you should fucking do.
Dude, I'm telling you, come up with some kind of an incentive program.
Oh, yeah.
Put those kids to work for you.
Yeah.
Where they don't even realize they're doing the work.
Yeah. Well, and that's, we were talking about doing like a little cash bonus incentive for like different things, stuff that they acknowledge and do. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like $20 here, $20 there. That's not a big deal.
With Dominic, you could just give him a stuffed animal. That'd work.
Well, and I thought perks for his car.
Yeah.
You know, like we have all kinds of good connections for. Oh, what's this? Oh, look at that.
So that's my incentive program. Those are the things they earn points for.
Oh, I like this.
And then the more points they earn, the bigger the prize they win for the month. But I mean, you change it to fit for your business.
Yeah,
Dude, $250?
Yeah.
for your business.
I could do that. What do you want me to do? Can I get some points?
Can I get some points?
I do this. I do it all the time for you, Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Well, and honestly, that's the whole thing, man.
Yeah.
Is this the stuff and what you want to put on that? You want them to earn points for stuff that is tough for you to get done.
Yeah.
You know, things that if you had somebody that could help you. And honestly, they're kids, dude. They're doing a better job of some of that stuff than you are.
Delegating.
Yeah.
I mean, kids do a much better job of
Yeah.
social media than we do. They understand it better than we do.
Yeah. Well, I can tell their school teachers don't really like them, dude, because none of them come got a detail. For sure. I want to help a kid out, go to his places of work. Right?
Yeah. Dude, school teachers can't afford to get their car detailed. What are you talking about?
Right.
I'll give you $100 if you get your fucking science teacher down.
What
here.
kind of school teachers do you think they got?
They should probably start paying them a little bit more money.
Absolutely.
Fuck
It's
no.
another one of those jobs when you think about it, like a teacher making, $30,000 to $50,000.
They should make more money than
at
most
least
other
$100
jobs.
grand. I think if they're shaping the mind of the youth,
Yeah,
to
and
keep
they-
their political opinion out of it and to keep their own.
They should have more control.
They're right.
too.
Of course, I agree wholeheartedly. No flags in the room unless it's the American flag.
Yeah.
Teach the kids something that value.
You're going to be fucking disrespectful
Right.
or disruptive. Guess what?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's I agree completely on that
Yeah.
for sure.
And it's like just like with doctors and stuff like that. The only part of socialism I've ever agreed with is I don't think a doctor should have to pay for his house.
No.
It's like that guy. You got to have a place to go rest, right? And then you're going to go do an operation the next day.
So
You want him to be well rested.
A buddy of mine went to Ukraine before all this bullshit happened. He lived there for a while, and Sevastopol was always Russian ruled and all this. Doctors and shit were he was so fucking worried because he had an abscess tooth. And he thought he was going to have to come all the way back to the U.S. because it's cost him $40 fucking to
Dang.
get and the whole socialism
Mm-hmm.
and communism or whatever in that part of the world is the doctors had a set rate.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $80,000 a year. That's what you fucking made if you had a doctor in front of your name. It was $80,000. And it's not like that in the U.S.
No.
It's
That's way different.
yeah.
Well, I think because I think of my native heritage, and when we talk about socialism, the true form of socialism is a community that works
Jesus
together for the
Christ.
common good, right?
Yeah.
But people don't understand what socialism is. Then nobody works for the common good.
No.
So then we have conservatism, right?
Yeah.
So you have to work.
Yeah.
And I believe in conservatism. I believe that people should strive for more and better themselves.
Yeah.
But
They should mash it all up and
right,
create another fucking title for it.
a lot of people they don't understand liberalism. They're all jumping on this thing of being a Democrat or being liberalism means you don't believe in government. You don't believe in somebody telling you what to do.
Yeah.
That's
It
the
said you want to
straight
color your
liberal.
hair and be somebody else, you go right ahead and do it. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean you're a liberal. I mean, that's just crazy how we title these things.
Yeah.
The American society is the only society that tribalizes everything still,
Yeah.
right? You're Native American, you're Black American, you're
Oh yeah.
Spanish
Spanish
American.
American, Chinese American.
It's all about not being racist or whatever.
right.
But
Straight
that's
up.
all everybody does.
There is
and-
no American.
No, right?
None.
Yeah.
Isn't
Ever.
that what we all are trying to do?
Yeah,
Is
we're
like,
all something else.
You're like,
There's
what?
there's
You're like, what
nobody
the
that's
fuck,
just-
dude? I was born here. I'm a fucking American.
Yeah.
Fuck.
during the pandemic time, I had more. It was fun. It was crazy, literally crazy. I mean, these people would seek me out on social media to look up my grandkids, their social media pages, to say things about them or take like snapshots of them and send it to me. And I was like, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
just because I don't believe the way that you believe, you want to call me a racist, but I'm native. I'm literally native to this place,
Land,
right?
yeah,
like my
motherfucker.
family is, you're not from here.
Yeah.
I'm from here.
Fuck
But
you and your titles.
Anybody has a right to be a racist. It's going to be me.
Oh,
It's-
100%, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts the way people think about stuff.
Well, and like the Facebook stuff, I really get going on that, some of that stuff. Cause it's like when you look at,
You've
people,
gotten better though. Over
oh,
the
I've
years.
had to like compose.
Well, yeah, because you got kicked off so much.
Oh yeah. I got so many
You're in
strikes on
Facebook
it.
jail so much, it's not even funny.
Well, it's like when people get to be anonymous and say
Yeah.
things anonymously,
That's the big
it,
thing now.
it reminds me of the red flag law.
Yeah.
Like I can just call, I don't like you.
Yeah.
I don't like what shirt you're wearing or what hat you got on. I'm going to call in and say, hey, that guy might be a threat to himself, and I
Yeah.
think he has some
Guess
guns.
what? My neighbor's not wearing the fucking the star on his chest.
Yeah.
Come get him.
Well, I think we're in it for a rude awakening. I this election cycle, if it proves anything right now, what we're seeing, and not to say that I'm going to vote one way or another, because it always gets me in trouble when I say who I'm going to vote for.
I'll fucking
But when
say it.
I'm going to vote for Trump. I'm going to vote the way I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote conservative every single time. But when I see this interaction of things of what we're seeing, we just saw our president almost get assassinated.
Yep. And people don't give two
And they
fucks.
don't even talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even on the news, right? When Reagan got shot in the stomach, very short lifespan in the news. And if you go back during that time and you look at how many people voted in that election cycle for Reagan compared to how many people voted in the last election cycle for Trump and Biden,
Yeah.
it's a millions of people different.
Yep.
Like there was only like 300-some thousand people that voted, not millions of people that voted.
Yeah.
Right. And it
Thousands
just
of
blows me.
millions.
I was doing the renovation at Looking Glass Brewery, right? And
Yeah.
this is old school. This building was built a long time ago. They used newspaper as insulation above in the top of the rafters up there. And I knocked the whole ceiling
Freaking
down.
high quality. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And literally the newspaper for was it Reagan and,
Like 81.
Mondale?
or
yeah. And
80
it was like
1979.
36,000 people voted. I'm like, how did 36,000 people vote? We're talking 180 million people voted this last night. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
30,000 people.
And then they
Right.
say how many voted for fucking Biden to win.
Yeah.
You know, they throw that number out there.
It's got to be a false number.
Yeah.
You can't have that many registered. So you look at the registration of votes.
Yeah.
There wasn't 181,000 registered voters.
Not at all.
And Trump had more than half of the registration.
Yeah.
But they do. I mean, I don't know. That's that conspiracy stuff.
No, it's not. And it's just fucking straight up blatant in your face, and you're supposed to just believe everything.
Right.
Fuck you.
Well,
I
and
don't
they have
believe
that
nothing.
everywhere now. It's everywhere now.
I don't
It's
believe shit. Fuck them.
and you can't like all,
Prove
all,
me wrong. That's
all
where
the
I'm
stuff
at.
that happens, like all the mismanagement that we see, everything that we see, all this money. It's like when I remember, Carol Hall was my health teacher. Well, she's more like our civics teacher down in Riddle, like 5th and 6th grade, fourth and 5th grade, maybe. I was young. I don't remember. She was my teacher for a while. But I remember we were down there and they were talking about millions of dollars being a lot of money.
Yeah,
That was a lot of money.
Well,
back
we
then.
were kids.
Then-
We were joking around.
And,
Gazillions
In the
quadrillions.
80s,
And
yeah.
she's like, those are made up numbers. You guys are talking about
yeah,
made up.
trillion.
Yeah, here we
Nobody
are,
will
right?
use that ever.
Have you ever looked at the U.S. national debt clock
Yeah.
and literally looked at the numbers on there?
Yeah.
Like there's so many numbers on there, and if you look at they literally count the poverty level in real time. So when you bankrupt somebody and they go into poverty and you're
Yeah.
okay with it, but you're going to send billions
To
of
another
dollars for these wars.
To another country. Fuck you.
Where the hell you get that money at?
Yeah.
From you and I.
And we don't have it.
Busting our ass. Working.
No,
We're just going more in debt.
Yeah. And you got people living on the street. I mean,
Mhm.
let's just put $1 billion into $1 billion into one community,
Let's see
and
what
let's see if
happens.
anybody lives in poverty.
Yeah.
If you want a social experience,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I don't know. It just blows my mind. You cannot make this stuff up anymore.
Mhm.
And if people continue to be blind and go down this blind avenue of just following people that you don't even know,
No.
I mean,
Just because of the popularity,
Yeah.
fucking
Well, and like-
rah, yes, no.
Virgil's like one of the first people I personally know that's running for office or is in office. You know, he's like the first person I actually know and actually knows what he stands on. So when he says stuff, I can say, okay, I agree with that. I disagree with that. But all these other people, you don't even know who the hell they are.
No.
You've never met them before. You don't know what they say.
And you're making decisions off of a
I'm gonna
one
vote for-
paragraph
That-
description.
that's
of
the
them
other
in a
fucked
fucking
up thing
voter
is,
pamphlet.
you know, when we're in Oregon voting, fucking rabbit hole. But
yeah.
they have all these ballots of uncontested fucking people on there. They don't tell you one fucking thing about what they're politically
No, nothing.
sided with, like all these judges and fucking.
So
It's fucked.
in 2001, I worked for voter registration down in Sacramento for about 3 years. And all I did was warehousing. That's all I did. And it was a huge election cycle. And we got everything set up. And this building is massive. It's a big building, and it's a voting center. And so they have all these suitcases. They're like these aluminum suitcases, and they've got their little dials on them with the locks.
Yeah.
And this guy, Rudy, he's my boss. He's from the Philippines. He's not even from here, but he's a citizen. He's a citizen here, but he still lives in the Philippines. He sends all of his money back to the Philippines. He lives rich in the Philippines because our money is amazing there, right? And so
5 times to the dollar. Yeah.
we're sitting there, and he's got this broken English that he talks to me in. And it's not a big. He's a super nice guy, you know. And we're sitting there talking, and I'm like, "Hey, Rudy," I go, "I don't understand. We literally took all these suitcases, put them on pallets, shrink wrapped them, and then put them in the rafters with all the ballot. All your personal ballots are in your individual suitcase, right? And there's just thousands of them. And then this place was full. I'm like, how do you know who won the election if the ballots are still in the box? And he's like, oh, you don't. He goes, those are census. I go, what? I go, what do you mean census? He goes, oh, well, the way it works is the voting cycle works like this. Everybody votes. You cast your vote, right? You mark down what you want. And then in the next 4 years, you'll hear the politicians start talking about the things that you voted for. So they're fishing for information on what you want to hear for the next voting cycle.
Yeah.
I'm like, shut your face, dude. And that's why I never voted. I was like, man, I will never vote.
Corrupt motherfuckers.
Right? It wasn't until Kate Brown that I figured I better start voting, because people kept saying, oh, your opinion don't matter if you don't vote. Right. And so then I vote 3 times in that process. And I voted twice in the presidential election process. And out of 5 votes, they all got sent back. Oh, your signature doesn't match.
Yeah.
Well, the only signature I had written down was at the Republican office here in Roseburg.
On my goddamn driver's license.
Right.
Fucking
It is. Right. Well, of course on my driver's license, it's wrong.
Yeah.
That
Right.
doesn't match.
Right. Or you can't
Like,
see
I
it.
did that when I was 16 years old.
It's like that
Come
big. Oh, it's just amazing.
That shit's crazy. Yeah.
And we're going to go through it again. So it's like, what do we do now? Now we go through this voting cycle. We're literally on the cornerstone of what happens next for the next 4 years. Not just that, the next 2 generations.
4 years, it's the next.
It's going to be impactful.
I was the same way as you, though. I had never voted for anything. I think the first time I ever voted was when they put making marijuana legal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I've got to vote, because I don't want my kids to be able to just go to the store and buy marijuana. Fuck that.
I didn't get to.
And,
motherfuckers.
And then, so that was the first time I voted, but I really never really paid attention to anything until I got into this business. And
you have,
my business is directly related
100%.
A lot of shit that goes on politically.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if politics go one way,
bam,
it drastically affects my business versus going a different way.
Yep.
And so I was like, I need to figure this out and make some educated
I guess I better
decisions
start paying attention
and pay attention. And then when I took over, I had people calling here, like every election year, we literally have people call the store and ask us how they're supposed to vote.
Which way they should vote.
And because people don't understand. I mean,
right.
And the only information they get is, like I said, that little paragraph in the a paragraph that's written by that person in the little voter pamphlet. And people make their decisions off of that.
Right.
So I was like, I better freaking learn a little bit about this shit and actually start paying attention, because
Right.
it impacts my livelihood, my family's livelihood.
Mm.
And so it became a lot more important to me. And so I actually pay attention to it now. And not as much as some people. I mean, I'm not a political activist or
Neither am I.
anything, but I definitely try and at least pay attention to the parts of it that impact my business.
Well, and you think about like when they legalized marijuana, what would be the only reason to do that?
Oh, it's
Money.
all about money.
To gain those votes
Money,
that you never
yeah.
got before.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the money is very influential, but you think about where we are now. Let's just think about when they legalized marijuana and what it's been like voting. Right. Anybody can smoke pot.
Yeah.
You got conservatives, you got liberals, you got all kinds of people. It just amazes me that that people don't think how impactful the government, how strategic they are to gain the vote. Like, hey, if we legalize marijuana, we're probably going to get this many voters out of it because they all want it. So now you got people that never voted before voting because they were always hiding their marijuana. Now they don't hide it.
It doesn't mean that we have to follow the fucking rules.
Right. And look how disrespectful people got with marijuana.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody did, because there's a lot of people that are still respectful. But the minute that it was legal, how many people were out there smoking in front of other people's kids, out at events saying, "Oh, it's legal now. Here, let me puff on this."
At fucking high school events.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. You're drinking here, so I can smoke here. Well, no, it's not okay. You know, there's different social aspects to each one of them. You know.
Yeah.
But it just blows me away. And just like that, I'm trying to think of the law that they just passed this last cycle. Was it 210 or 201?
The amount of
for the amount of
illegal
drugs a person
drugs.
can have on them.
Oh,
How'd that blow up in their face? Look at Portland now.
Oh, yeah. Well, they just
Portland.
overturned that basically now.
Yeah.
But how did they overturn? So people had to vote to put it into law,
And then you don't
but then they
vote
just
to
get rid of the
overturn it.
law?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that all
So
works.
your vote
Oregon-
didn't count.
Yeah.
Oregon's bullshit. You know, 3 years in a row, I think it was self-suicide for people suffering.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And the voting people said yes. You know, this, and you had Kit Sauber and whoever else said, no, we're not doing it. It's not ethical.
Right.
But even though they went through the whole fucking process, they would rather fucking get the money from the suffering families to have a person in hospice care or whatever.
Well, we're going to watch it unfold in real time in our time, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We get to see it. We've never seen nothing like this in our history.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, there's so much stuff we had never seen until.
no.
There's so much craziness that I've seen in my lifetime.
A dementia fucking guy running the
God,
country.
dude. I told everybody there's no way possible this guy's going to win. And then he won. And so
Well,
people ask me now,
even
what do
when
you
he
think's
won,
going to
I-
happen? And I'm like, honestly, I have no idea. because
Not clue.
I thought I had
Yeah, I thought I knew.
grasp on
I thought I knew
what
reality.
common sense was
but-
in reality,
Nah.
but I didn't.
Well, it's just like Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
They all these Democrats voted for Biden to be their primary, right? He's the guy.
Yeah.
But now he's not the guy, and they
didn't
just appoint her.
she
They
didn't
didn't
have
vote
any
for her. She
votes.
didn't even make it through the first round in the
None.
last election cycle. She was kicked off the stage.
0 votes at all.
Well, and she's
Who
running
votes for that?
And she's running for president. She's not even on the ballot in 3 states.
That's crazy.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, we'll see it. We'll see it.
I'll tell you what, I hope things go one way. I don't want to tell people which way. It's pretty obvious.
Right.
I hope things go one way for my own personal reasons that, I think the country will be better that way. But if they go the other way, it's going to be great for business.
you're gonna make a lot
Yeah,
of money.
that's right. That's right.
So
It'll be better for everybody in a whole. I mean, but we can't live on these means anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the dollar is stretched so freaking thin. Like it's just me and my wife. We go grocery shopping. We hit the local grocery stores, Walmart and Winco and Bros.
dude, groceries are crazy.
Oh man, it's nuts. Just her.
It's
and
like
I-
$200 and you walk out with 2 bags of groceries.
if you're lucky, right? We buy the same thing. Every week. My wife literally goes to the grocery store every Sunday and buys we get our creamer, we get our tea, we get our produce and stuff like that. It's the same items every week, and we watched our bill go from I think it was like $180, almost $400.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not, I'm not worried about it because I know I
100%.
need it. I got to go buy it to have it if I want it. I want the luxuries of life.
That's the fucked up thing is you have to have it, you
Right.
know, and
gas in your car, insurance. Did you see homeowners insurance is going to go up?
Oh yeah, it's like doubling.
even auto insurance is just crazy for some people lately. They're just fucking jacking that shit the fuck up.
Everything's jumping crazy amounts,
And nobody
but
wants
nobody's
to work.
pay is jumping.
Yeah. No.
You know,
My pay
the
hasn't.
amount of money you make isn't jumping,
Yeah.
and I don't want pay to jump. Let me tell you,
Fuck no.
I'm a small business owner. I don't want to pay people more.
No.
Fuck that.
Well, you know,
I want their cost of living to come down to a reasonable amount.
Exactly.
Right. Well, and it's like the kids, you know, like, so I pay them, cash, I pay them under the table. And
The
I
IRS is listening to this. by
that's
the
all
way.
right. Well, I don't know what they're going to do. They've already done so much. It's like,
Okay.
but it's like the idea to think that the people that pay for my services pay taxes for their money.
Yeah.
All the products and
And then
everything
it's
I pay
taxed
for, I
again.
pay taxes for. I pay business taxes all year long. You know, I look at it like, why do I have to pay somebody? I mean, especially for my business, it's like, why am I paying you any taxes at all? You don't have any influence on my business. They don't provide anything. They don't come and get services from me for my business. I never see these people. It's like, why am I giving you money to do such a piss poor job?
Yeah.
You know, and to say that I can't like afford something to some youth in our community, you know, to teach them a work ethic, where else are they going to get a job to even understand what a work ethic is, let alone pay taxes on it?
Yeah.
You know, and I know eventually I'm going to have to do something to better that realm to where, you know, I got to pay their stuff, you know, and I'm fine with that. But at the same time, it's like, if you don't have a value in it, and if your values don't serve a purpose to me, then why would I give you money? If I did a crappy job on your car, you're not going to keep bringing your car back to me to continue to do a crappy job. You know, and same thing with our government. If you're going to continue to do a crappy job and send our money to all these other countries and stuff like that have nothing to do with what's here, it blows my mind. And, you know, and again, to go to Douglas County and think about Douglas County to be a leader, right? They can be the biggest leader around. I mean, we have the biggest influence of population here that is so diverse, it's unreal. And to get everybody to come on a common ground to understand that we're going to work for each other and do something for each other. I mean, come on.
Good luck.
You got to do something. We got to do something better. During the pandemic, we got the National Guard right here. We have our own National Guard unit right here in Douglas County, right? The first thing that they do is they impose nut numbers, shut down businesses, do all this stuff. But they got people coming from all over the United States driving up and down our freeway, but not one National Guard unit parked on the exit saying, hey, you can't stop here. You got to keep going. So were they trying to save people? I don't think they were trying to save anybody.
No.
Right?
Displace people.
Oh, for sure. You know, my wife got COVID. And I think she had pneumonia. I think that's what it was the whole time was pneumonia, and they just changed the name of it. But she got sick. I didn't want to go to the hospital with her because they weren't going to let me in. I had to sit out in the car the entire time.
It's a fucked up situation,
Right.
man.
And I thought, well, what am I going to do? You know, what would I do for her sitting out inside in the car? And so her daughter went with her, and I stayed home because I knew by this time that everybody knew who I was. They weren't going to let me come into their building, which was a bad thing for me because I grew up here. I grew up here my entire life. And to have people say, hey, you can't come in here because you're not going to put that mask on. Well, I'm not going to wear the mask. If I'm going to get sick, I'm going to get sick either way. I've been trained in what every mask does for you. Each individual mask has a level of training that goes with it. And those masks don't do nothing for you. Do I think people should wear them? Yeah. If you're going to go to the cancer center or if you're going to go to the hospital, you should put one on. You know, you might transfer something to somebody, a cold or something like that. And if they're a cancer patient and they're fighting for their lives and you get them sick, it's going to make them worse because they have no way to fight that. They have no immune to that. Their immunity's gone.
Immune system.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, people just like gravitate to this whole thing. Well, if it just saves one life, how many lives did it take?
Yeah.
How many people did we alienate and how many people did we actually harm by doing that? How many people committed suicide because they didn't have the outreach that was provided for them? How many cancer patients died because they wouldn't go to the hospital because they wouldn't wear the mask?
Yeah.
You know, people believe differently, you know, and I wholeheartedly believe that I don't live in fear. I'll never live in fear. I've had to face fear full front. And so I've had to accept those things and what they mean. just like any one of you guys. You know, it's like you think about like, oh, tomorrow could be your day. Tomorrow could be the day that you punch your ticket. Do you think it's going to be a cold that takes you out? I mean, the survival rate was ridiculous. It was like one of the first things that came out, and nobody paid attention to the number, but they were counting numbers in real time on how many people were affected or died.
Yeah.
But do we know how many people in Douglas County are homeless? Do we know how many people in Douglas County are starving? Do we know how many people in Douglas County don't have somebody that's going to be there to listen to them if they want to, you know, take their own life? We don't know those numbers because I believe they made the numbers up. There's no way. I almost believe that those numbers were the national debt clock running in real time, and they just changed the name to them.
Yeah. Well, during COVID, Mike was super worried because he already had breathing problems. So I mean, he took fucking extreme precautions. He came over to my house looking like he was an astronaut.
Right. Well, you had to.
Yeah. And he stayed away from everyone, and that was fine. You know, I approached it different. I basically didn't believe any of it and didn't do anything. I had masks that were made out of freaking mesh that you could breathe right through.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. And, people made a joke of it.
And you know, that's just how I did things. And I, you know, I think things were inflated, and the parts of it that really affected me were the fact that, you know, I saw how people started believing things were basically quote unquote law
off of no factual
facts. It was a couple of posts on the social media, and all of a sudden people were like locking down. I mean, we were basically in martial law, and all it took was a couple of posts on social media. No officials made any comments, nothing. And it blew me away that we went to such an extreme, and it took the government nothing to do that. Absolutely nothing.
Well, and they know that.
I think they wanted to do it on purpose.
I mean, it was a very crazy experiment. Yeah. And I know you go deep. You deep dive into like fucking
if they'll
to conspiracy theories and shit. Well, here's one for you.
Them sons of bitches will fall for this. They'll fall for anything.
My wife and I were like typhoid Mary during COVID because I literally got so sick. I ended up taking my wife and everybody took me to the hospital because I passed out and had a seizure, coughing and couldn't breathe. And the hospital freaked out and put on contamination suits. Like they put full fucking paper suits on with masks and everything.
This guy's got
and couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, so they released me.
They're like, no.
And the next day, I was still dying. I was still sick as shit. But the next day I was scheduled to go to SHOT Show. So my wife's like, you're not going, right? And I was like, fuck no, I'm going. I loaded up my shit, got on the airplane, flew to Vegas, went to SHOT Show, sick as hell. I was fine by the end of SHOT Show. It was fine. I passed my germs off to other people. And so whatever. And whether it was COVID or not, I don't know, because I never got tested.
Right.
That's the way to not get COVID. Don't get tested. Right. You never had it.
Right.
But my wife and I went to DC for a convention, and on our way back from DC, and this was right in the middle of COVID, right when everything, I mean, you had to wear a mask everywhere. It was right after you were able to fly. Like they had shut down flights forever, and then all of a sudden you could fly again. So we went to this convention, and we're in the airport in I don't remember where we were. I think we were we might have been in DC or we were at a layover. I don't remember. Anyways, we were at an airport, and we're waiting on a layover, and I'm at the bar. I'm having a drink. I'm eating nonstop so that I don't have to wear a mask. And this dude's next to me having some freaking something to eat also. He was obviously doing the same thing I'm doing. We're eating so that we don't have to freaking wear a mask. And we started BSing, and come to find out he was a shooter. We were talking about guns, blah, blah, blah. Well, come to find out, he's the head of logistics for the CDC. And after we had been hanging out for a little bit, we were talking, and he told us and this, like I said, this is the middle of freaking COVID. He says, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And he goes, I'm not supposed to give this information out, but you guys are cool, and I'm going to tell you anyways. And he told us the exact month to the month. He goes, this is what's going to happen when we get to this date. They're going to drop all the freaking mandates. They're going to drop all the restrictions. And basically everything's going to go back to normal because that's the end of the funding for all the masks and everything. And
About money again.
Yeah. And he goes, that's the end of the funding for all of it. So it's all going to end.
Yeah.
And then they're going to make it. And then he goes, after that, they're going to start like backtracking and making it out like they had gotten false information and whatnot. And to the day, he was exactly right.
Fucking happened.
Everything happened exactly how he said it was going to happen. And I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. I
am.
But that made me start rethinking my whole idea about conspiracy theories because for some guy he's not, I mean, yes, he's at the upper end of the CDC or whatever.
Yeah, but why would he say something?
But for him to know that, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My uncle, I was at my uncle's house down in Modesto, and he has a friend. He's a Indian guy. Flies all. I don't remember what his practice is, but he's a doctor. Flies all over the world for what he does. And he was at my uncle's birthday party, and so it was probably like June 6th, 2021 or whatever, right before they stopped all this stuff. Probably 2020, but he was sitting there telling me, he goes, I've been everywhere. I've flown everywhere. All the doctors that I know are on the same page. He's like, yeah, if the numbers are real, by this time, everybody in the world has COVID. You can't get, it's done. He goes, the numbers can't be the percentages that they are and not everybody be sick. He said, it's just like cancer. Cancer, 1 in 3 people have cancer. So somebody in this room probably has cancer, right? 1 in 5 people have died from cancer. So 1 in 5 people in this building has died from cancer. You know what I mean? So he knew these numbers. He's just spitting them out. And I'm like going, whoa. And he goes, we see it all the time. He goes, there's no way if it was a real thing that you don't know somebody or somebody in your family has had it or you yourself already have it in real time. He goes, that's how fast they projected it to be. Right. And so to go back on all that stuff and think about Roseburg, to think about our death rate, our totality rate here in Douglas County, the number didn't change. It had its actual inflection that it always has. It's like 3 to 10% or whatever that number was.
You want to know what changed?
What?
Nobody died of the flu.
Oh, they didn't die of nothing else.
Yeah, it was only COVID. The flu didn't exist all of a sudden.
No.
All of a sudden, there's no such thing as the flu.
Right.
It was just COVID.
Fucking crisp in a fire,
and you go back to Bill Barr and Mike Pompeo and President Trump sitting in when they were doing the White House briefing and they're all talking about it, and Mike Pompeo goes, "This is a live drill," and Trump goes, "Why didn't you tell us?" And I thought instantly, as soon as, because I was watching that stuff in real time, I was like, "Oh, it's a fire drill." They're practicing a worldwide fire drill. They're wanting to see how they can get the world to contract to being controlled, like you said, to this thing.
Well, I honestly, like I said, I truly believe it was a drill to see how easily it would be to put the whole world into freaking, being totally controlled. To be in a police state.
Well, and that's what we're going to. Even here, we're going to it. And Trump's not against it. I'm a Trump. That's who I'm voting for. But even he says he wants a national visa system, right? He wants a national visa tracking system, which is a real thing. And whatever it is, just like having voter ID to vote is a real thing. They just want to track you on what you're doing and how you're voting. Guy's tired. But
Mike's petering out.
All right.
Trying.
It's been a long time. But it's and we're going to see it again, and it's going to be what's the hard part is going to be what people are going to accept. You know, it's what they're going to accept, what they visually see this time, because nobody's buying into going through that whole process again. Not everybody's going to bow to that whole process again.
It's crazy.
You know, what was crazy was what got me was like my wife and I walked through Walmart for like 2 hours shopping, like our normal shopping thing, filling up our basket.
It takes
doing our
you
thing.
2 hours to
Oh
walk
God,
through
it
Walmart.
takes forever.
Fuck
Yeah,
Walmart,
it takes
dude.
forever. Well, we were kind of milking it because we wanted to see what the reaction would be.
People watching.
But they didn't. Nobody came and said nothing to us until I left my wife. Like I left my wife and went down another aisle, and 5 dudes, not 5 girls, 5 dudes surrounded my wife to tell her she couldn't be in the store anymore after we'd already been in. We start on the soap aisle over in the far left-hand corner and work our all the way around the whole store and go end out on the produce aisle, right? So we make a big run. And these dudes like totally surrounded my 4'11" wife. She'll say she's 5 foot, but she's not. Surrounded her. And so I went off on it, and they're 86ing us from the store. And the whole thing was like this one guy, I don't know what his deal was, but the whole time he was sitting there cussing and yelling, wanting to pick a fight. And I was like going, I'm going to beat this guy up, right? So I did a Facebook Live. Like I was going to beat this guy up. I do the Facebook Live, and they're calling the cops on me, and I'm doing a Facebook Live. I said, well, I better put my phone away, man. They're gonna click me up, man. Get 86 from Walmart, right? We didn't even go back, like right after they ended the pandemic, we go back, and there's literally a guy right in front of us shoplifting, right? He's literally squatted down behind the candy thing right in the aisle, and he's stuffing his backpack. And I'm like looking at him. I literally looked down and I said, hey, check it out, dude. You're not going to steal that stuff in front of me. You're going to take all that stuff out of your bag right now. And security was literally right there watching the whole time. And the guy's all, I'm like, are you serious right now? You literally confront my wife in the store for not doing your little mask thing. But this dude's stuffing his backpack right in front of everybody, and you're not going to do anything? The oxymoron to it was just baffling to me.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
What, Mike? You need a nap, buddy?
All right, dude. Well, we've talked for a long time.
Yeah,
so
that was a long time.
So we're probably good. Dude, I hope you had a good time.
I had a great time.
Thanks for coming on, man.
You bet. I love listening
appreciate
to it. I hope more people jump onto it and keep listening to you, because even though you guys horse around and have some fun, you share some real stuff that people need to hear. So
we try, yeah. I don't know if people want to listen to old guy freaking advice and freaking our insights on life, but
people better start listening.
Whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike, I'm glad you stayed conscious long enough to finish the episode.
I tried.
Hey, make sure you get those snores on that dub. No, those are some deep.
Oh, nobody started snoring.
I heard it. That's why I looked at it. I was like, what?
A little too much gin.
That's the best, dude. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a day.
Yep.
Again, thank you guys for being on. And thank you, Umpqua Survival, for sponsoring the episode.
Amen.
And I guess until next time.